SDFC returns to Snapdragon tomorrow night when they take on Colorado. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren will begin right here at 7 o'clock on your home for San Diego FC, San Diego Sports 760. Running business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
I used to.
I go there all the time.
Yeah, no, I
go up. Okay.
Oh, the one on the highway or the one down below?
Highway. Oh, yeah, there's like 3 within like.
Well, there's one on the highway I went to for years, and then those guys moved down below. I went there, and then I go to Antipas down.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I got to go get this stuff.
Coach, good to see you, my friend.
I'm planning on being at the Florida State game.
I love it. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Come find me.
I will. I'm glad you got some down here. Mom doing okay?
Yeah.
I was talking about you and how you set up my podcast. I can't remember where the hell I was. I think I was talking to
San Diego and Southern California. What's going on? John Quintero, good to see you, my friend. Coach filling in.
I have a conversation with Coach. Can you wait? It's till 3:05.
You know what? Just read our coach's show, honestly, that we just had for 3 hours.
Trying to catch up with him, and here you are trying to.
Sorry, the radio show.
No, the radio show's fine. They can have. I'm just let me finish talking to him,
dude. There's a ton to get to today.
Yeah.
It is great to see Coach. By the way, he's going to be at the San Diego State Portland State game that you're trying to bail on. All right,
bail.
Yes.
When did I bail on him?
You were just tell the listeners about the convo. You were saying, hey, maybe Yankees Padres over Portland State.
But I said that yesterday on the air.
I know. So tell for those that missed it.
Yankees are playing Padres that Saturday.
You
had a decent idea of trying to hit both up.
I think that could work.
Yeah.
Because there's a 4:15 start and then like a 6:45, 6:30.
September 5th, right? So we're going to have
Labor Day,
the start of San Diego State football. And then we're also going to have a preview of the World Series, the same World Series that we had in '98. This one's going to be flipped.
You think Portland, San Diego?
Shut up.
Or are you thinking Yankees?
Yeah.
Padres.
Yankees, Padres. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. I like your positivity. I've heard you talk like that. Wow. Look at you.
I haven't. It's been 2 straight days. I didn't wear the hat because
Padres
of the collapse in New York against the Mets.
Padres lose the series. It only took a Padres series loss to the Mets for you to be like, this team's going to the World Series.
I lost it with those losses.
Okay. Can I just start here? Because I need to make everyone aware, including Brent. Well, I had like dental surgery today, but that's not even my issue. Brent's already shaking his head and rolling his eyes.
Brother, let me tell you something. Just real quick on you can't just like say I had dental surgery and go off to the right like that's nothing.
I know.
If I had dental surgery, most people, I'm out 4 to 6 weeks.
I know.
Potentially 6 to 8 weeks.
That's I thought about taking the day off, but I didn't.
Yeah,
because
your mouth is super swollen too.
Is it?
No, you're fine. Just relax.
So, they do the huge needles and this, that, and the other. Whatever. I'm fine from that. I can deal with that. And they gave me like all this ibuprofen and Tylenol.
Oh, you're drugged up right now.
No, I'm feeling fine.
Look at you.
But here's the issue. This pinched nerve that I've been dealing with for like a month is only getting worse.
Yeah.
And I may need like someone to like unpinch this nerve.
Okay.
And it's not going to be you. I'm not asking you. But I'm just telling you, this pinched nerve thing is a problem, dude. To the point where these 600 milligrams of ibuprofen and the Tylenol extra strength, it's having no impact on my pinched nerve. My mouth is fine, but I can't like move my right arm.
So you walked into the studio and you look like
I don't know,
mad. I don't even know. No, you weren't mad. You were defeated.
I'm so defeated.
You were defeated. And you walked in with your right arm. Your right arm just hanging.
It's killing me.
Like
dude.
he pitched, like he threw 160 pitches in 97.
I have more appreciation for like Adrian Moreau now.
At Jack Murphy's Stadium, and it's like they couldn't take you out of the game.
But honestly, this is where I am with this situation.
That's how we walked. That's how you walked into the studio.
If you have a quick fix, text me. Seriously. I mean, I'll give you my phone number on the air right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's 70470. Start it with the word team. I've watched every YouTube video. I've watched videos, Alan, with more views.
That was actually your cell. The 877.
No, I'll give you my actual cell. No, but text me because or at John Schaefer on social media. And I've watched all the videos, Alan. I've gone to YouTube. Nothing is working.
Somebody's got to help. I mean,
am I dying?
Listen,
could it be something else?
If you're Schaefer's been grinding in SD here for a while.
I think it's that. It's the work.
He's made his name here in San Diego. He's serving the city proud. Can we get a San Diegan to help this guy? He's got a pinched nerve and nobody's trying to help.
Does someone have an office I can go to at like 6 o'clock? I'll go during an interview. Oh, no, wait, we're doing the interviews live. But anyway, that's my day.
Somebody has you on the 10-day IL. This might be long.
It's been longer, dude. I've been complaining about I've been telling you about a pinched nerve for a while, or have I not? I think I kept it from everyone for a while.
No, because
I was soft.
No, you talk.
I talk about. My wife hates it, dude. All I do is talk about my ailments, and she cannot deal.
A couple weeks ago, here's what happened. You said that. By the way, you did tell me today you're not going to age well.
I'm not aging well.
It's not. Yeah,
I'm not going to age well.
On the inside.
On the inside. So I think 2 weeks ago you said that you did complain to her, and she's like, "Go see a chiropractor."
Yeah, or a doctor.
Or a doctor or something.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's this. So this one's kind of on you. But
then I saw a doctor.
But I don't think you think it helped.
No, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That was my theory.
It was like that consultant, my investment yesterday, where I walked away and I'm like, I don't know
if exactly right.
I don't know if that helped.
That's exactly right. And they did all these tests, like, can you do this? Can you do that? And I did it. And they're like, all right, take Advil. And I've been taking Advil, and I feel like my arm's going to fall off. Brent?
Have you tried nerve glides?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of that. Are you
doing nerve glides?
Yeah, it's like when you do this weird stuff with your arms, you like look left and look right and go up and down.
Interesting.
It's supposed to get the blood flowing.
That's what I'm saying. I wake up, dude. I think it has to do with that because I wake up in the morning. I'm like, I can't move.
Okay, the waking up.
This could be my final show.
I'm kind of with you on the whole, like, wake up. It takes a second. You know, that engine, it takes a second.
No, it doesn't because you sleep with the whatever in the earplugs. You'd sleep for 24 hours. You'd be dead if it wasn't for me waking you up in Monterey. You'd still be in Monterey.
Starved. Because I didn't have the proper nutrients.
There, dude, this show, I'm just going to tell you right now. I have sutures or whatever. I have like string in my mouth. I have an arm that is killing me, and the Padres are playing the Twins, and the Dodgers are in the midst of the biggest scandal in baseball history.
That nobody apparently is reporting about it yet.
We're getting
there. We're getting there. Don't worry. All right, one quick thing. We got 3 different guests today. We got a packed show. Just one real quick thing.
Yeah, please.
Before the show started, I had walked into the studio. With a coconut macaroon.
No, it wasn't a macaroon. It was like you walked in with a cake. He ate this massive bakery item. It was huge.
It wasn't that big, okay? This guy
It took a lot of bites.
It was a larger coconut macaroon than it should be, okay? And I asked you, I said, do you want some? How are you in these situations?
Okay.
If you would have said, oh, I'd love some, and you took half, hypothetically, and Brent, my bad, because we weren't in here, we're over there. I should have asked Brent. But if you would have said, hey, I'll take half, I'd have been perfect. I'd have been, I had a little bit of coffee with me. I was doing a little of the combination, right? Mm-hmm. But when you said no, I was like, well, what do I do with the other half? And I just ended up
ate it.
What do you do in situation? Are you if I just got too much food in front of me, you're just going to take it down? You're not a food guy.
I'm not very motivated by food. And like, I just eat whatever's in front of me, and it's got to be vegan. But why don't you just eat half and then wrap it back up and throw it away? Even I'm not a big.
It's an excellent idea. I just couldn't do it. Throw away, no, but just don't eat the whole thing.
Was here for comparison's sake. Is this the size of a macaroon? Because it was this size. If you're watching, it was huge. It might have been bigger than this. Am I lying?
Yes, of course you're lying.
It wasn't this size.
No, it wasn't that big. It's like a whole loaf right there.
Yeah, that's like a Twinkie on steroids.
It had good size.
Listen,
it had good size. I shouldn't have eaten the whole thing.
It
could have been the loaf of bread.
It was big. The loaf of bread. It was big, man.
Every Middle Eastern person, when they're trying to tell you like the size of something, they go like this. Like this is how they measure it.
From their elbow.
Yeah, they just measure it. It's like this big. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Bro.
All right, let's get the show started.
Okay.
Ready.
Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Padres Twins open a 3-game series, 6-game homestand for San Diego. This is days in front of the new ownership being introduced, right? This is a sneaky homestand. It's a sneaky homestand because these are tricky games. Minnesota is in a playoff spot. If the season ended, Minnesota's in a playoff spot, I think. And Pittsburgh is only like 2 games under 500 right now. So you're playing teams like, oh, it's Minnesota and Pittsburgh. These teams are under 500.
Are people saying that? I don't know.
I don't think so. At least heading into the homestand.
I'll tell you why they're not. Tell you why they're not.
Why?
Is because you're one game in front of Arizona. Like it doesn't matter who your opponent is. You are losing 2 of 3 from being back on the outside looking in.
Right.
Like you go on a slide where it's 4 of 5 games or 4 of 6 games. You and I joke about this. It happens all the time. I mean, every great baseball team is losing 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 6. The question is, when are you losing it? I don't know if anybody's looking at. I think there's a much more kind of cautious approach. And it doesn't really matter who the matchup is, especially if there are teams that are hovering around 500. If you told me it was Colorado, maybe it's a little bit different of a conversation. Maybe even if you told me San Francisco, it's a little bit of a conversation. The fact that it's a couple teams that have something to play for, not necessarily Pittsburgh, but certainly Minnesota, I don't think there's too many people walking into tonight's game that's going to the Padres and Twins game, and it's like, we'll kick back, win or lose, we're good to go.
No, not win or lose, but I think like a week ago, if you would have told me they're playing the Twins, I'd be like, the Twins are terrible. They had just lost 4 straight. They were swept by the Phillies home. But then they completely redeemed themselves and sweep the Braves. They're coming off a 3-game sweep of Atlanta and coming here and in playoff positioning. But I'm with you. You can't lose 2 out of 3 to anyone, really. You're not going to feel good about losing 2 out of 3 again. You just lost a series to the Mets. That was your hiccup. Now you got to win a series against Minnesota. And honestly, you got to go 4-2 this homestand.
Yeah, Minnesota's in a phenomenal spot. I mean, just sitting in their situation, they are literally tied with Texas for that final wild card spot. So they got a lot to play for.
Yeah.
I don't mind that, by the way. I don't mind the Padres being in situations. I think, sometimes you might be able to get lulled with. There was a brief second there. Again, we'll go back to the game, the Fernando Tatis night in New York. There was a brief 12-hour period there where you were walking around with your chest out. Padres up 2 on Arizona. Yeah. You're starting to kind of build a little bit of a cushion. It took 12 hours for them to then lose against the Mets, kind of look awful in that last game against the Mets, and Arizona to come back and beat the Boston Red Sox, where St. Louis wins a couple games in a row, where I think in a weird way, they'll be ready and dialed in because they don't have a choice. Like this isn't a luxury. They're not in any situation where it's anything other than a necessity.
I mean, it feels like they haven't played since like 2009 because they haven't played since Wednesday morning in New York City. But the Padres back tonight at 6:40. All right, Kyle Bonagura from ESPN wrote a really interesting article on the new look Pac-12. He'll join us coming up at 3:30. But on the other side, why is no one talking about what could go down as one of the biggest scandals in modern baseball history?
Got to give it a second. Let it marinate. We're going to get there.
Nobody's talking about it. I'm being serious. No one nationally is talking about this. Why? And what is it? We'll explain it next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida, every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers. Sign up with the code SD760. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms DKNG.co/predictions promo. nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Kyle Bonagura, ESPN, is going to join us coming up at 3:30. He wrote a really good piece on the new look Pac-12, which will debut coming up in just about 2 weeks. Actually, 2 weeks from tonight is the first game involving a Pac-12 team. San Diego State 15 days out. All right, so Kyle Bonagura is going to join us coming up at 3:30.
Quick question, just real quick. Have you tried quick, rapid movements with your neck and your arm? Just quick, like as fast as you can.
Yeah, I've tried everything.
Like aggressive, very almost
like a car crash or something.
Just maybe you get the nerve to.
Nobody is suggesting.
You send a message to the nerve, like,
are you giving medical?
We're not messing around here.
No, dude.
No.
But a couple of days ago, I will say this: at a break, you hit me as hard as you could on my right arm.
Yes.
I think that might have aggravated it.
Yeah, it could have.
I don't think it did actually. Alan has been working on something. Dude. He's got to do something through work that he can't complete. You ever have that where like you go somewhere,
you got to do these
trainings
online. You got to do these trainings. Look at this.
Why can't you complete?
Stays at 67%.
Brent did it. I did it.
I'm back and forth.
I guarantee if I was over there right now, I could complete it in 2 seconds.
Awesome.
I guarantee it.
Okay.
At the next break, I'll go over there. I guarantee you missed something obvious.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
I will do it at the next.
That'd be awesome if you could find it.
If I do find it, I
already know what it is.
I want the macaroon.
I'll show you a break. I already know what it is.
Okay.
Brent knows what it is.
It's amazing. All right. I can't find it. I mean, I don't know if this is like, they ask you to do some of these tutorials and things like that. I feel like I'm getting tricked here.
I want to hear from Jeff Passan with a John Boy host.
Mm-hmm.
Let's simplify it in terms of the allegations surrounding now Dodgers owner Mark Walter. This is more Dodger allegations than anything else.
Well, he's no longer the Laker owner.
That's what I'm saying. He's no longer the Laker owner.
Yep.
He owns other stuff. But this relates to the Dodgers. Now, by the way, everyone's been eerily quiet on this nationally. But this is a John Boy host that has Jeff Passan on his show. Listen to this 2.5 minute back and forth.
Mark Walter, the Dodgers, that is like the clickbaitiest baseball topic I've seen on Twitter in quite a while. Explain it to the listeners like we're 5.
Watch sources tell Jeff Passan on Tuesday.
Is there anything you can give us? What's the bare bones? What's the basics?
Insurance companies have premiums that come in, and those premiums are dollars that always get invested. Mark Walter, who runs the Guggenheim companies and is the owner of the Dodgers as well, was purchasing insurance companies and taking those, proceeds that came in for the insurance contracts. And when you invest those insurance contracts, you can do only a finite amount in other businesses that you own. These insurance companies that were owned by Mark Walter and other people involved with Guggenheim were taking a much larger portion of the money than they were reporting to the government in disclosure documents and reinvesting it back into companies that they owned, like the Los Angeles Dodgers or like the Dodgers television contract and things like that. And so what the government is looking into and what the allegations are saying is that there was self-dealing and potential fraud going on here. And that's what they're looking into. How much cash made its way back to the Dodgers, that we're not quite sure yet, but it was clearly part of this whole financial ecosystem that the Dodgers created.
Is this going to have any impact on the lockout?
It's very interesting because a lot of the points being made by Major League Baseball involve the Dodgers. Rob Manfred citing the Dodgers payroll in comparison to the Marlins payroll at the bottom and the $400+ million gap in between them. If the Dodgers were being funded in ways, even partially, that involved activities that were determined eventually to be illegal, it says quite a lot, I think, about MLB then focusing its argument around the Dodgers that, well, if everything wasn't on the up and up with the Dodgers, is that really the case that should be pointed to as the right way to make your pro cap argument?
Ooh-wee. There's 2 really fascinating parts.
Okay, talk to me about them.
One of which is,
there's one much more interesting than the other to me.
Are you going to say the lockout?
No.
Okay, good. Because I was like, it is not the lockout.
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
not.
But
that's
not. But obviously, the idea that and this is Jeff Passan's word, the idea that any element of fraud is part of your financials for your organization, there's red flags everywhere. I mean, we've spent a year talking about Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. That's literally a peanut compared to like an elephant of what we're talking about right here with the LA Dodgers. So if the allegations are true, this will be a massive scandal of epic proportions in baseball history.
I agree with you.
If being the key word. If the allegations are true, it's of epic proportions.
But here's the one thing, and this is one of the things that I was trying to like tie back when this thing initially happened.
Yeah.
You remember maybe a week and a half ago, right when it happened, I was like, is this the first crack?
You did say that.
In the Dodgers empire that, like, is there all of a sudden, it's like, are you going to look at the Dodgers a little bit different? How much does this affect the Dodgers? They've owned baseball for about 10 years, 10, 11 years, right? They've owned baseball. I think, if you're looking for, I think the initial shock was, holy crap, this dude just sold the Lakers after he just bought them. Something's wrong, right? That was like the initial shock wave that went down.
You're right.
Granted, there was some conversation about him within the last month or so. His laptop seized, his cell phone seized.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There was kind of some, people looking into it. But to be honest, it kind of felt more of you would see that article in a business. You'd see that in the a business page of a publication. You wouldn't see it in a sports page. Now it's leaked. Now the question is, and again, I'll just look at this from a San Diego perspective. Wait a minute. Was what they were doing legit or was it not legit? Because a lot of people have said to me, and I get it, they'll say, well, don't be mad at the Dodgers for dominating baseball over the last 10, 12 years. They've just done it better than anybody else. And they just have more finances, which I believe there's a lot of truth to that. But if they find and eventually, if they eventually find Mark Walter, that he did do some things within that Dodgers organization that ties back to some of these other, whatever fraud that he has going on, I think it is interesting. Sports has an article today. Mark Walter investigation could paint the Dodgers dynasty in a different light. Stories are now starting to attach more to the Dodgers because there's nothing left to talk about with the Lakers.
I agree. We'll get back to it more at 3:45 because we have Kyle Bonagura from ESPN on the other side. But I completely agree with a loyal listener and viewer, Jeff West. We talked about this off air before the show. If this was San Diego, if these allegations were against San Diego's current ownership, they would throw the book at San Diego. Every national reporter would say, see, I told you it's not sustainable. The way they went about it, we told you this in real time. And look at them now. They had to use fraud in order to keep that payroll the way it was, if that was San Diego. Yet it happens in LA, crickets nationally. Absolute crickets.
I don't know if it's crickets.
Crickets.
I don't know if it's crickets. I think they're. That's why I said this when you were playing the pass, or you were promoting we're going to play the passive thing. I think let this thing play out, because I think there'll be plenty of people and in plenty of markets that want to know, is his business obviously representing the Dodgers? Has it been done clean or has it not? I don't think you're gonna just get all these other markets saying, no big deal. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I agree with you. I'm not concerned about the other markets. I'm concerned about people that cover the sport nationally, covering the story.
That's a problem.
At hand.
That's a problem. That's a different conversation that we can have.
Kyle Bonagura, ESPN on the new look Pac-12 will join us on the other side. Kevin Acey joins us today at 5 p.m. Kyle Glaser, the veteran baseball reporter. We can ask him about this latest situation with the Dodgers as well at 4:30 here on Schaefer and Sliwa. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for my friends at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Got to get out there this August. It's going to be warm this weekend. Make sure to swing by Starlight Pool for next level chill. Soak up the sun, soak in the views. It's San Diego's ultimate rooftop pool party with day passes starting at just $40. You can grab your friends, relax, make it a pool day to remember. Plus, keep the weekend vibes going with Sunday pool parties. That's at Starlight. Live DJs, cocktails, cabanas, and all-day rooftop energy. This at the Hotel and Spa at Jamul Casino Resort, where you can experience elevated luxury. They've got their refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Jamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. And now you can take your stay to the next level. They have exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. And while you're there, check out Jamul 23. They've got lobster buffet going on every day. All you can eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Twins are down at Petco, getting set for game 1 of their series tonight. It's going to be Connor Prelip going for the Twins and Randy Vasquez going for the Padres. First pitch is at 6:40. A couple NBA notes. The Mavs are going to buy out Klay Thompson's contract. He's expected to sign with the Heat once he clears waivers. And the Nuggets and DeMar DeRozan have come to terms on a 1-year, $3.9 million contract. One note, the Bonita Little League team, the Sweetwater Kids, they lost today 1-0 on a controversial strike call on the last pitch of the game. They will play again tomorrow at 4:00 on ESPN against a team from Alabama in an elimination game. Tomorrow night, SDFC returns to Snapdragon to take on Colorado. You can hear our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren beginning at 7:00 right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, we're going to get back to Padres opening a series against the Twins, the latest with Mark Walter and the Dodgers. But great to connect right now with Kyle Bonagura, who is an ESPN college football writer. And there was a really interesting piece this week at ESPN from Kyle about the rebuilt or new look Pac-12 and how they could be like in their own tier, so to speak. You got the P4. Everyone says there's a group of 5, which maybe now is the group of 6, but the Pac-12 has metrics to support maybe it can stand out among that group. So Kyle, we appreciate you taking time for us in San Diego. We're the home of the Aztecs. What was it like as you put that together and you look at the Pac-12 compared to these other leagues? Are they carving kind of their own lane, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting, topic of conversation, if nothing else, right? Because there's a number of ways you can try to quantify that, right? Because I think if you look at what this new look conference will, kind of the depth of it, up, all the way up and down. Like I think it's like pretty clear that like they are the number 5 conference from any way you slice it, like most of the time. But I'm not really convinced that necessarily matters, right? Because what's going to matter ultimately, how these conferences are going to be evaluated, is by playoff, at least in college football, is playoff representation. And so even though like the old Pac-12 was a Power 5 conference, because it didn't, was never in the 14th playoff, or rarely was, they had two appearances, its reputation was hurt as a result of that. And now the new look conference is kind of in a similar spot because, there's only so many spots, and now there'll be, quite a bit of competition from those conferences outside of the, I guess what we're calling now the Power 4, right? And so, yeah, like I think up and down again, they're there, but it's gonna end up being more about who sends a playoff team year after year. And so if you have a team like, James Madison a year ago, who has an incredible season, and it's clear that they're the most deserving of the non-power conferences. They didn't come from the best, best conference or outside of the power one. So it kind of skews it, but I'm interested to see how this plays out, because the playoffs going to expand, and there's all sorts of craziness going on in college football, of course.
Kyle, so with that in mind, let's say, I don't know if tie is the right way to put it here, but Boise State, San Diego State, you pick whichever Pac-12 school, and you can look at some of these other non-power conferences. What do you think gives the edge to the Pac-12 to be part of that 12-team playoff? And before we even talk about expansion, what do you think the conference has to accomplish in order to, like you said, kind of be in kind of a league of that kind of in-between league, not a Power 4, but also not tied with the rest of the conferences?
Yeah, and I think that's why it's such a precarious situation, because they could be the best conference year after year, but it might not matter, right? Because if your conference champion is, let's say it's San Diego State this year, right? But say they lose to UCLA, and they lose a game in conference, but they beat James Madison, and there's like some other team from another conference that goes undefeated, and so say San Diego State's got 2 or 3 losses. Maybe they're the champion of the Pac-12, and up and down it's the best conference. Like, it's not going to matter, right? Like, because that undefeated team from a weaker conference probably will still have the edge, right? And so I think that's why the kind of system for me is still a little bit flawed in that like there's not a clear path in for the winner of conferences outside of the Power Four, and so it's a tough situation to be in. I think like conference like strength will be part of the evaluation for those teams, but it's certainly not going to be like if you win the Pac-12 or you win, say the American happens to be better in any given year. If you win the American, like that's not a guarantee either. It's so much about the individual team at the top as opposed to the conference's overall depth and strength.
Yeah, it's a good point. Kyle Bonagura from ESPN is with us right now. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. So no one has a crystal ball on college athletics. I mean, the thing is crazy. Each and every day there's stuff you don't expect. But like, Kyle, would you be surprised if in 5 years there was another round of realignment impacting the P4? Like, I'm still looking at Cal and Stanford in the ACC. Like, you got to be kidding me. And there's other examples. It's not just specific to Cal and Stanford. And we know what happened, obviously, with the old version of the Pac-12. But, like, is this just going to be the P4 structure for the next 25 years? Or is there going to be another, earthquake-type movement at some point to realign everyone?
Yeah, no chance it stays how it is now. I think the only thing, like predicting how it's going to evolve, right. I think that's an impossible task. But I think it's very clear that it will continue to evolve because it's been the waves of realignment have been pretty significant in the last few years, of course. But like it's always been part of college football going back 150 years, right? I mean, the Pac-10 was a thing for a long time, and you had that established group, and then it became the Pac-12, and it lasts for a decade. It feels like some sort of disruption because it is, but at the same time, there wasn't that much history with Utah and Colorado, and so there's. The San Diego State was in the WAC for a long time before the Mountain West came along. And so I think that it's just part of the sport, and it always has been. And I think, when you start seeing the geographical lines no longer become it's something that matters, I think that's why this feels so different, right? You have, like you pointed out, I mean, Cal and Stanford in the ACC is ridiculous. Having Washington and Rutgers in the same conference, like that doesn't make any sense. Like I think like for me, there's a lot of like, I guess like very logical solutions. That like one would be separate football from the conferences and like have football only conferences and geographic conference for everything else. Like I think that makes too much sense, and I think people who are close to this think it makes too much sense. But there's so many moving pieces here when you're talking about public and private institutions in 36 different states and no central, like the NCAA has proven to be powerless lawsuit after lawsuit, right? There's no way for them to effectively govern college sports without outside intervention in whatever jurisdiction might be impacted at the moment. And so yeah, like it's going to continue to evolve. It like all the signs certainly indicate that like everything is shifting toward powered conferences. Like the money is just too big for that not to be the case. Like that's always going to be what drives this. So I think you kind of just sit in for a few years and you say, okay, this is probably what this is going to look like for 2-3 years. But, I wouldn't even like feel good about like the idea that it's going to remain firm that long. I mean, it could change in like 1 or 2 years, and that's got to be, par for the course.
Kyle Bonagura taking some time here, covers college football for ESPN on the Schaefer and Sleva show. Kyle, this was early on, maybe a couple months ago or so. We were having a conversation with the athletic director of San Diego State University, J.D. Wicker, and I want to kind of ask you a similar question. I asked what could be the best version of the Pac-12 down the road, 3, 4, 5 years from now. You pick however long. And he had mentioned that, listen, kind of like you just said, this is such an evolving everything is evolving in college sports, and I don't think we have any idea where it's going to be in the next handful of years. But from your seat, from your perspective, what kind of potential do you think the Pac-12 can have? And there's only 9 teams, 8 in football. And I think what we're talking about is the potential of it, adding different schools and hopefully better schools and everything else. Do you see some potential here for the Pac-12 down the road?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think from a results standpoint, it's like just let's use five years to make a simple conversation, right? So like say you have 3 teams to the playoffs in 5 years. I think that's like an overwhelming success. I think it's probably success if you have 2 teams in 5 years. just because of how the math works out, right? Yeah. I'm talking about the outlier being the conference champion. So I think that would be a good way to measure success. As far as like adding other schools, I think it becomes a question is where is the real value that is realistic? I mean, there's a couple, right? Like I think UNLV is a school with a lot of potential in a cool market. They've had some success recently in football, though not historically. That hasn't been the case. Has obviously had some good basketball over the year. I think if the circumstances changed and UNLV came over, that would be an obvious one. I mean, I think Hawaii as a football-only school makes a lot of sense. The travel for the other sports is kind of tough to justify unless you get creative with and how that deal would be structured. But I think like beyond that, like there's like the pie in the sky mentality, right? Is like, look, going back to Stanford and Cal, like how long do they want to be in the ACC? I'm up here in the Bay Area, and I don't see any world in which they would be interested in leaving the ACC for the new look Pac-12 in the foreseeable future. Like even though it's a lot of travel, the media rights deal, even though they're getting 30% in the ACC, like it's still significantly more than they would be getting in with how the Pac-12 is structured now. But like, could circumstances change and does the ACC dissolve at some point? Look, if that happens, then I think Stanford and Cal would have a hard time getting the bid elsewhere, and the obvious landing spot would be to return to the West Coast and kind of catch your breath and play the geographical game. So I think like that could be one way this thing breaks. And then the other obvious, pursuit, it was something that the Pac-12 kind of tried, it's a path they went down, is there's some schools at the top of the American that are conceivably good value at Memphis. There's a couple others that in other parts of the country, South Florida. Then you're talking about, then it kind of gets weird again, right? Do you really want to be in one of these national conferences to be the number 5 conference? What's the end game here? Is that really a good thing? I think those are all interesting conversations to be had, but those are all the avenues you could go down. But I think, for now it's pick your spots with it. UNLV for me is the most obvious one, but again, they turned down the chance to do it now. The Mountain West offered them kind of a sweetheart deal to sit pat for now, but those deals change pretty quickly. And once you kind of get through those contracts and all of that, everyone's kind of fair game. And even when they aren't up, schools appear to be fair game. So yeah, just expect more change for sure.
Always fascinating times at a big first year for a new look conference here in the West in the Pac-12. Kyle, appreciate you taking time. Enjoyed the writing at ESPN, and thanks for doing it.
Thank you, man.
Sure thing. Anytime.
All right, Kyle Bonagura with ESPN. We'll get back to what we were talking about 15 or 20 minutes ago, not just the Padres and the Twins, but the dynamic with Mark Walter and the Dodgers as well on the other side.
One other thing, too, just to play off of what he said, and we'll do it coming up, but you keep mentioning Cal and Stanford. I know you've mentioned a couple times of just how just idiotic this entire thing is. Right. Did you hear what he said about you can have realignment in 1 or 2 years?
Sure.
This is not something that we have to just pray for five years down the road.
Stuff happens quick.
If he's saying that, then it just kind of shows that volatility is still there in college, and it doesn't sound like it's going anywhere anytime soon.
All right, stay with us. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, with the iHeartRadio app, you can stream us wherever you are 24 hours a day. Just search for San Diego Sports 760 to stream us live all day, every day. You can leave your comments for us using that talkback microphone. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want us to talk about. Make us a preset so we pop up each time you open up that app. San Diego Sports 760, always live on the iHeartRadio app.
I didn't fully recognize the significance of that horse crap called strike
BS.
on Bonita in the Little League World Series, right? Local Bonita here in San Diego. The bases were loaded, and the 3-2 pitch was a foot off the plate, and he was called out.
Brent was filling us in, and then we got to watch it on ESPN here. 3-2 count, bases loaded, down 1-0 in the 6th inning. They only go
Last
6.
inning.
3-2 pitch, way outside.
A foot outside.
And by the way, the ump delays his strike 3, so that even the kid is like, what the hell is going on here?
Normally in Little League, you got the larger strike zone because it's Little League. It's a little larger.
Yeah,
but I think I need ABS. Like, I'm not these kids, this is your entire life. You're 12 years old. You're in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and you're taking the bat out of his hands because the ball's a foot outside. We have ABS.
We'll find out.
Give me ABS.
That's it. Going after that ump, I'm emailing him.
You should.
Oh, that's awful.
That's
so
double
sad.
elimination, though, right?
Yeah, they play an elimination game tomorrow at 4:00 on ESPN against, I'm probably not going to say this right, Phoenix City, Alabama.
Oh, take it out on them.
It was 1-0. That ties the damn game.
I know, and you still got the bases loaded, 2 outs, and this dude can't throw a strike, apparently.
Yeah, they took out their starter who was
like 15 strikeouts.
I don't know if it was exactly Mason Miller closing there. I don't think it was.
That's frustrating,
That's a
buddy.
tough one.
That one's frustrating.
A tough way to lose.
Quick update. Brent came in here during one of the breaks to try to see if he can help me with this tutorial that I got to do for iHeart. And no go, buddy. No go. And you were in the background like, oh, I hope he finds it.
I was praying
I really hope
he
he
would
finds
figure
it.
it
What are
out.
you, 7? Relax. I just want to get this stupid thing done.
Here's the thing. You have now made an admission, though.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it was on air or off because I never
It was
know
off
the
air,
difference.
Doesn't matter. Well, no, it probably matters.
Okay. I don't think it does.
The volume?
Yeah, because you have the volume. You can't do a tutorial with the volume
I didn't start doing the tutorial here. I started doing the tutorial like last Sunday.
Dude, there's nothing worse than not being able to get through a tutorial. I'm not kidding. Like when you can't get to the next page.
And the number won't change. It just says 67% complete.
Dude.
I've had it at 67% for a week.
But you should finish it.
I'll tell you right now, this FCC stuff, I know it so well because I've gone through it 8 different times.
Well, okay. Perfect.
I'm on it.
All right, let's go to the phones here. 877-767-4760. Dave has been patient. There's a lot to react to. Dave, back with us here on Schaefer and Slewa. Thanks for calling in.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for reporting on the I guess, I don't know what you call it, Dodger Gate. That's what we're going to call it, scandal.
Yeah.
So, John, you're right, and acknowledge that this is the first I've heard of it, and I pretty much have MLB radio on and ESPN throughout the day, going back and forth to you guys as well. And this is the first I've heard of it. So putting that aside, Alan, I think to your point, let's get specific here. It needs to be investigated and determined whether or not, if there was illegal money going into that Dodger organization, was that money then tied to the contracts that they were able to successfully procure? And if they did that, and I pray to God that there's no cover up here because of anytime we get into this amount of money and this amount of power, all of a sudden things get really fuzzy and hazy. But if it can be determined that there was a link to this, Dodgers need to be heavily penalized, frankly, because now the integrity of the game has been compromised, probably as bad as anything that I could ever remember in the history of baseball. That's how I see it.
Yeah, this ain't trash cans.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you.
Honestly, it's a really good point. Like, everyone lost their minds over the on-field trash can Astros, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, had its benefit.
There's a reason why everyone, yeah, sure.
Everyone lost their mind when they thought Shoeless Joe Jackson 111 years ago fixed the World Series that he hit 440 in or whatever he hit in. But you're using allegedly, you're taking money that you can't take, as Jeff Pass outlined, premium insurance money, and funneling it into other organizations, including the Dodgers, to do your business? If that's true, then this isn't some slap on the wrist situation.
Yeah, this is my only thing. And I think this is what I care more for than anything else.
Okay.
I just want moving forward, and this is the same conversation I've been having about the salary cap, the same conversation I've been having about CBA and, what eventually happens with the labor negotiations. I just want things to be more balanced moving forward. That's all I care about. I just want, if a franchise is better than you because their front office is phenomenal, they're smart with the players that they bring up, they trade when they need to, just they run a good organization. Right. I'm all good with losing that way. That's clearly there. You got plenty of teams in Major League Baseball that know how to operate that way. The one hesitation I have, and it does throw it all off because Jeff Passan says that, I do believe they're making a lot more money than other teams.
Yeah, I agree.
I do believe that their TV deal, which is monstrous compared to others. What is it compared to the Padres?
$335 million a year
to 30.
I think Kevin told us recently they make 30. The Padres.
It's like 1/10, something like that.
It's 1/11.
Okay, 1/11. I think I'll keep going here. I do think Shohei is like, there's only one Shohei.
Right. He prints cash.
And if Shohei didn't exist, then I think just wherever he goes, he's going to be phenomenal. And the money's going to be different except for the Angels. So I'm not really sure what to make of it. But if you're telling me today there's a crack in that organization that wasn't there before, then I feel good about what the future might look in the NL West or how just big picture this can make it look. But looking at them today is different than it was a month ago.
Here's the thing. I
think it will be more different in a month.
I was okay. I have no problem with if one team's richer than another, they have additional funds. It's like, that's the American way to some extent.
But you don't want that.
Here's where I have a problem.
But you don't
here's where, no, hold on. Let me finish my point.
But this is where I also get confused.
But this is where you and I disagree.
It's like we're playing a pickup game and you're like, hey, we're going to have 6 guys. You can have 4.
No.
It's America.
Here's where I disagree. Not everything in sport has to be equal. It doesn't have to be completely equal.
It doesn't have to be completely equal, but can we start with
there's still
just
rules.
Being in the ballpark?
There's still a draft. There's still amateur. There's still international signing pools.
The rules in MLB is the biggest. It's the most BS of any other sport.
I don't have a problem with a team spending more than another. I do if it's allegedly by using fraudulent funds. That's where you go too far. I have a problem if you're doing things that are illegal to do it. If it's not illegal, John, I don't have an issue with it.
John, that's an easy, of course anyone would have a problem with it if it's illegal.
Well, yeah. But your argument is you know what? All I really care about, I don't even care as much about this. Just put a cap in place.
No, if it's illegal, that's why I'm saying give this thing a second. 2 weeks ago, Mark Walter was still the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, but the federal indictment or the federal investigation has been playing out for longer than 2 weeks.
It's been playing out for a while. You're right about that. But you're seeing the effects of it right now happening in front of our eyes. The man owned the Lakers for 9 months or 10 months and then had to sell them. Clearly, this is having an effect, not just on his business, not just on his reputation. Every single thing that he's involved in, it's having an effect on.
All right, we'll get to the phones on the other side. 877-767-4760. Kevin Acee will weigh in at 5 p.m. as well. And coming up at 4:30, Kyle Glaser, a veteran baseball reporter, with more on it as well at 4:30. Stay with us, hour 2. Schaefer and Slee coming up next. All right, something big is coming September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code SD760. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions. The CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms, dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres and Twins are down in Petco getting set for game one of their series tonight. It's going to be Connor Prelip going for Minnesota and Randy Vasquez on the hill for the Friars. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. Couple NBA notes. The Mavericks are going to buy out Klay Thompson's contract. He's expected to sign with the Miami Heat once he clears waivers. And the Nuggets and DeMar DeRozan have come to terms on a one-year deal worth $3.9 million. Little League news, the team from the Sweetwater team from Bonita, they kind of got hosed today on a final call and lost their game 1-0. They play again tomorrow afternoon at 4:00 on ESPN in an elimination game against a team from Alabama. Tomorrow night, SDFC returns to Snapdragon to take on Colorado. You can hear our pre-match coverage with Darren and Adrian beginning at 7:00 right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, hour 2 of Schaefer and Sliwa on this Friday afternoon. Padres coming up tonight. Kyle Glaser, veteran baseball reporter, joins us at 4:30. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, at 5 p.m. You know where I draw the line, Alan? Murder.
Illegal activities.
That's where I draw the line.
Yep.
Illegal activities.
Yeah, you do this thing.
Unless they benefit us.
Right. And we can get away with it.
Exactly.
And no one knows.
That's
no
where
one will
my
ever know.
line, that's where my line is drawn, truthfully.
I'm all good with it as long as I get away with it.
That's right.
You do this thing.
Yeah.
You start laughing.
And then I can't stop.
Yeah. And I'm not good at that because, like, did you ever, when I was a kid, this was the worst, but we'd go to church and my cousin, you know, like once we kind of started laughing.
Oh, you'd be giggling in the church and everyone heard you.
Brother,
looking at you,
ready to kill us. Like these nuns were like, "Yeah, you can't do
they
that
shouldn't
here."
Be killing you, but yeah,
they probably won't. But I'm kind of with you. But I'm more like, if you're laughing and you can't stop, then that gets me.
Brent's seen it a few times over the years. There are times I cannot stop.
Yeah,
like, and it is a problem when you have to like stop,
or when you have like reads to do.
We just did a write that endorsement for DraftKings, and I told myself before it started, I said, pretend like your life is on the line, because I was really laughing, but I had to like refocus myself and say like, and I've said before,
pretend your life is on the line. That's when I used to go
more morbid and be like, pretend like you're at a funeral and see if your mind will just that.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I don't want to.
My mind will fight that. My mind's like, yeah, but that's kind of funny that you have to go to that route.
Right. All right. Kyle Glaser at 4:30, Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. Right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who's a better fit, DeMar DeRozan to the Nuggets or Klay Thompson to the Heat?
All right, a couple of buyouts today.
Yeah, saw that.
So guys moving some. Look, these were, at one point in the NBA, these were some significant names. I mean, DeMar DeRozan's had a great career. Klay Thompson, I don't need to give you his resume. Oh, that's a good question. Better fit. I feel like Klay is going to be. Oh man, I don't know how much confidence I have in Klay Thompson, to be honest with you. I'll say Klay, because I think Klay will probably play a bigger role, which is not a good sign for Miami. But he's a very, very needed shooter. I like DeMar DeRozan, but DeRozan's been in the league for a long time, and I already think you got so many guys on that team, enough scorers already. And DeMar DeRozan does need to have the ball in his hands. So I kind of lean towards Klay. And these are not perfect fits both ways. But I think Klay is needed more in Miami than DeRozan is needed in Denver.
I'm going to reframe the conversation to say, who helps their team more if it was 2016? And in that scenario, they're both great players. I'm taking Klay Thompson 2016 over DeMar DeRozan.
But here's the thing. We're in 2026.
Well, and here's the issue for both of these teams.
Yeah.
It's 2026.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I think the issue
that's a problem.
For both of these teams.
That's a problem
heading into this year. It's a big problem.
Well, okay,
who's older, by the way?
I want to ask Brent in this one. What do you think, Brent?
If he stays healthy, it's Klay.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, he's going to be a bigger part, even if he's the sixth man for that team. And if you look at the team,
they need that spacing too.
Well, yeah, they don't have any shooters because Bam can't shoot, Giannis can't shoot, and they got rid of Tyler Hero, who was their best shooter. So I think he'll help more, but I don't have a lot of confidence that he can stay healthy anymore.
Next question.
How important is this start tonight for Randy Vasquez?
You know, I think it's important, honestly, more to just get a W for the Padres. I don't think Randy Vasquez is fighting for the fifth spot in the rotation. I don't kind of look at him as this guy's going to play a major role in the postseason. Not to say that he can't play a role, but think about how we were talking about Randy Vasquez over the first maybe 2 months of the season and how we're talking about him now. So I think the start is critical. It's important, but it has less to do with Randy Vasquez. It has more to do with the Padres just need a W against the Twins in a really, really tight wild card race. That's kind of how I look at Randy Vasquez at this point.
He's been sneaky effective, though. Like his last 5 outings, he has 2-7, 23 and a third innings, 15 hits. and a 270 ERA, just 5 walks in those 23 and a third innings. He's been
his last start.
effective.
He had a couple good starts, and his last one they did
5
the
innings,
whole.
4
I think
runs.
Peralta.
Yeah,
and
5 innings, 4 runs. You're
who
right.
they
The
do? I
last
think
one.
Kyle Hart or something like that.
Yeah, he
Like, they had
came
a
on in
couple-
relief for an opener.
Yeah.
But you're right. His first 6 weeks was good. He had 6 weeks he was bad. Now he's had a couple of weeks where he's been better. I hope he pitches well. I hope the team plays inspired, getting back home off an off day. Back home.
But how critical do you think Vasquez is to like the big picture of things?
Yeah, that's a good question.
with
He's
the
gonna help.
Padres?
He can help you get there, so to speak.
Okay.
He can help you get there. I don't know what role he would play if you get there, but he's going to help you get there.
Because isn't the conversation? I remember we mentioned this to AC. It's like, no, Musgrove is coming in for that 5th spot. He's
Right.
coming in for that where Randy Vasquez sits in the rotation. That's where Musgrove's going to go.
But according to Musgrove with the influencer, that's still even big.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of starts away. So I don't know. That's a good question. Next question.
What should the punishment be if the Dodgers' allegations are true?
So they illegally are funneling money. The
Right.
owner is illegally funneling money into the Dodgers organization.
Correct. Payroll.
Is that I'm assuming that's unprecedented.
I mean, workarounds like that are usually heavy-handed punishments.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's kind of a workaround.
Okay, can you tell me what can be done? Like what can they do? Are you talking about going back and saying
No.
we're vacating or we're taking away something, or are you
No.
talking about for the future?
I
Because
think
all
it's
I
more
care
the
about is the
I
future.
think it's the future.
All I care about is the future.
In professional sports, someone correct me if I'm wrong, is there even an example in any of the major American sports of anything vacated? Ever?
Yeah.
I'm asking the question. Is there? That's such a college thing.
Yeah, it's a college
And does that even
Yeah.
mean anything?
No, it doesn't. Because
That's
they already
That's what I think. They
I
already
mean,
have.
you got freaking Harbaugh
But-
that's like, all right, cashed in, whatever, I'll leave.
But you could have some severe punishments,
Yeah.
similar to what happens in the NBA. You can say you can only spend this much internationally. You're losing draft picks. You can only do so much in free agency. There's punishments.
You have to do the maximum of whatever that is. The problem is I don't know what it is. I mean, other than, maybe what you do is they have to move to the AL and Shohei comes to the Padres. Just something like simple as that.
Oh, that'd
I
be
think
good.
that would
That'd be
be
good.
like
That's
a
a good
very
idea.
clean,
That's fair for
because
everyone.
he could stay in SoCal,
Yeah,
but
that's a
then
good
they
call.
joined the American League.
Smart.
And they're in the same division as the Yankees.
I heard that's what they're considering right now at this hour, as this plays out. What do you got, Brett?
No professional team
That
in
sounds like-
baseball, football, or hockey
Yeah.
or
But what does it
basketball.
mean?
do that?
Like you already did it. Like you already won.
Yeah, there's a
But
lot
it's
of
more
examples in
about-
college that I think are so bogus, by the way.
And by
So
the way,
bogus.
I think they take the risk because they're like, what do we care? We already made all the money. We already sold out all our home games. We
Yeah,
already
I
this.
know.
Like they
No,
don't
it's a great
care.
point.
NFL and NHL have had some very severe rules violations and salary cap breaches,
Right.
but it just resulted in like draft pick forfeitures
exactly.
and stuff like that. No titles.
Which I'd be
are
fine
stripped.
with as well. Next question.
Do we need ABS in the Little League World Series?
Are we getting a little extreme here, or are we just hurt that Sweetwater and Bonita got absolutely screwed in their
Right.
game earlier today?
Right.
Yeah, I'll take ABS. I'll take ABS. What's the harm? What's the harm in it? I don't think there's much harm in that. If I'm right here, they do replays. They have
I don't
they have
watch.
some kind of challenge that they
Yes,
do, right?
because this morning during the game, they went to replay to see if a pitch was foul tipped. So they do review certain things.
Yeah, then bring it in. And here's another thing. I know this umpire isn't making $600K a year,
Maybe more.
but can you do me a favor? When a pitch is 7 feet outside, how about you just do your job and just call it a ball?
Yeah, and you feel it. And they're 12-year-old kids.
I know.
You've got to do your best to get it right. Now, with all that being said, there's a huge humanistic element to sports, even at the professional level. And they don't always get this stuff right, even with replays. But ABS in Little League, man, I say why not?
I'm ready.
It's the World Series.
I'm ready.
I don't think you're going to have ABS like when Bonita's playing at home, like on some field. But at the Little League World Series in Williamsport, I could use it.
Yeah, I think a Little League World Series, that if there's ever a time to use it now.
I agree.
And I want to give props to the Sweetwater kids for
They didn't complain,
handling.
did they?
No,
Yeah,
they
you're right.
didn't. Nobody
Yeah, good
slammed
on
their
them.
bat or their helmet down.
I
They
did.
just took it in stride, and they were really good
Good on them.
sportsmanship about it. So I give them big props for that.
We're going to hear from Joe Musgrove on the other side on the prospects of new ownership, which will be introduced on Monday. So we'll hear from Joe Musgrove coming up on the other side. Kyle Glaser, the veteran baseball reporter, joins us coming up at 4:30 with more in the NL wildcard race, maybe his thoughts on the Dodgers situation as well. And Kevin Acee, our Padres insider at 5 p.m. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by the Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Weezer, and more. September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday for you to win your trip for 2 plus $1,000 in spending cash. Next chance to text and win happens around 5 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760.
You know, as an organization, you've made inroads when the Bayonne, New Jersey Little League team has players that favorite team. I'm not saying that right. A player that's favorite team is, I had dental surgery today, the San Diego Padres. They just showed the team and all their favorite teams, and it was all Yankees and Mets. This is Bayonne, New Jersey, but one of the kids' his favorite team is the Padres.
I like him.
How about that?
I like
Bayonne, New Jersey. So
trust him.
That's why I think
he's a trustworthy individual.
That's why the ownership group is spending $3.9 billion.
There you go.
Because of the spread of the brand.
We're there on Monday.
Country. Yes, we're going to be there 1 o'clock, right?
Noon.
No, it's at 1.
Doors open maybe at noon?
It's not like it. I mean,
media,
like
it's open
carnival.
For media at noon?
But it's only for the media.
I know, but I'm saying it would technically open at noon. Is it noon
I don't think
1?
There's like an opening act. It's just a press conference. It's at 1 o'clock. That's why I was wondering. You're like, hey, we could do a call at 1 p.m. too. I'm like, how?
Oh, is it at 1?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at 1.
All right.
So we'll be there. Looking forward to hearing from.
I would have been there, dude.
You're gonna be there so early, dude. Like, why?
There's a game that night. I'm gonna actually be
just
sitting there asking, like, what's the deal? Is Hodad's opening up, or
are you gonna? Serious question.
Yeah.
Are you gonna ask a question?
I don't know.
You haven't decided.
Well,
I will not.
I don't know how the setup will be. So
imagine chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, if you have a question, raise your hand.
Thank you. I'm well aware of that.
That's the setup.
I have thought I got to be very prepared for a question or two that I think won't get asked. You ever do that? By the way, it's the worst. Like
your question or two for what won't get asked?
Yeah, as in like I have a couple of questions ready to go, knowing that those probably will not be asked.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nice.
Have you ever done that? It's the worst, man. It's like you're up next to ask a question, and like the guy just asked that question.
What?
I don't have a backup plan. Like I'll still ask the question, but it definitely wasn't the question that was there.
If I'm still feeling the way I'm feeling right now, I might be like, "Hey, Jose, any back relief solutions?" I mean, you've been a very successful man. You probably rarely pinch nerves to keep executing as successfully.
If a player, hypothetically, if somebody in the media had a pinch nerve, what kind of advice would you give them?
How would you guys fix that?
That's right.
In a reasonable amount of time.
That's a really good question.
What if your question had to do with Mark Walter?
Chelsea. They are tied together.
I want to see your long, like roundabout. That would be an amazing question. It would be an amazing question. All right, Kyle Glaser from Baseball. Used to be with Baseball America. Veteran baseball writer is going to join us coming up at 4:30. Now, Joe Musgrove was in the clubhouse today.
Yep.
He's not yet back, but he's working his way back. I think this is kind of a wide-ranging conversation with the media on a number of topics. Brent's going to let us know where it does. Just kind of start the question. All right, let's hear from Joe Musgrove. This is on. Okay, this is an update on his health and more with Joe.
Yeah, head out for another rehab start in a couple days here. But things been going really well. Been feeling really good, bouncing back pretty well from the start. So yeah, moving along well.
Were you hoping at some point to make that next start here in the bigs, or was it easy to be patient this time?
I mean, I was hoping for it, but the conversations we've had and how long this road's been and where we're at as a team now, having the additions of Casey and Robbie, I think that allows the team to be a little more comfortable with making sure that I'm in the right spot physically and, pitch count and inning wise. So, realistically, I didn't think it was an opportunity to come back. I would have loved it to go that way, but I think 6 innings, 85 pitches seems like a reasonable mark for me. So hopefully that's what we'll get to in this next one and then look at returning here.
So you think that's if things go well, that's the final one for you?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy. It's not really up to me, but physically I feel really good. Been bouncing back well, increasing pitch count and got my velocity up to a higher spot than it's been in a long time. So, naturally a little bit more soreness with the recovery and stuff, but I feel like I've, leveled out pretty well and getting back to a normal feeling of what I felt between starts. So
how exciting is this time of year, just with what's ahead for this team and also having your new owners introduced on Monday?
Yeah, nice to have that, wrapped up and finalized. Really excited to hear from them. I think we've all been excited to see what the message is going to be in the direction. We've seen, a few reports, some through you guys and some just on, the Twitter world of about their plans to spend some money and really pour into the organization. So, talk is one thing, but we'll see the actions from them here soon. I think we're all just really excited to meet them and see what they're all about.
Is that really all you ask from an owner, just to be invested, try and give a team the best chance to win?
Yeah, I mean, I always have a hard time telling someone else how to spend their money, but I can't assume you'd spend that kind of money and get into this kind of business without, some kind of desire or passion to win. I think everyone in this organization, in this city, in this clubhouse has put a lot of effort into getting where we're at. And this organization in the last 10 years has improved drastically, in terms of production on the field and how we perform, but how things are run and the culture of the clubhouse and the culture of the organization as a whole. So you don't want to see that stuff go away. And I think sometimes when you disengage or step away from, the intent to go win and improve the organization, some of that stuff naturally, falls apart. So players, we just, you have such a small window in the game that you would love an opportunity to compete for championships and have a good caliber team and an organization that supports and stands behind the players. So I think they understand what's been built here and what they were getting into when they took this over. So I would hope that they would kind of, be in the mode of wanting to improve and looking for the best options to make the team better.
Small window, but you just hit your 10-year. So I'm sure it wasn't the way you wanted to hit it, but getting to that spot and that kind of what it means to you and how rare and special that is for ball players.
Yeah, man, a lot. It's just a lot of adjustment, a lot of adaptability over the years. You feel a certain way when you come into the league physically, and as years pass, those things start to change a lot. So a lot of just understanding of my body and a lot of relying on the people around me to help, push me in the right direction with, my physical training, my recovery stuff. And I just feel like I've landed in an amazing spot where I have the comfort of playing at home and playing on a team that's, really high caliber. And then the people that we have around us, the pitching team here that, prepares me physically, and then the training staff that just gets me, prepares me mentally, and then the training staff that gets me ready physically and has helped me through this long stretch of a 2-year rehab. So, very grateful. I would love to be on the field playing during my 10-year, mark, but I feel like I'm getting close, and my focus is kind of set on that now. So.
Hey, Joe, beyond the pitch count and the innings number, is there something more nuanced you're still looking for as far as feel, pitch shapes as you work your way back?
I feel like the shapes have been really good, just inconsistent in like landing them in the zone. I feel like I've always been really good, and a big part of my game is being able to land the breaking balls when I need them to get me back into leverage counts or to get me back into a count that I might be behind in. So I haven't felt super consistent with that as far as landing the curveball at a higher clip for strikes. I've had a few better ones in the last outing in El Paso where I was able to get to 2-strike locations, which I had struggled with in Reno, not really getting a lot of swing and miss. So a little more of the swing and miss there. But ultimately, I think the more I can land those breaking balls in zone more consistently, I kind of get guys engaged in that speed, and then I can use the fastball and open up the zone a little more. So those are all things that typically come, with more and more outings. Look at the spring training buildup. It's usually the last outing or two where you start to see that stuff really, sharpen up. So I've kind of, been aware of it, but not stressing too much, just trusting that the work that I'm putting in and the reps are going to get me into a better spot with that. And I've seen, improvements every time I go out. So I'd say that's probably the last piece, is just the overall command of the breaking balls, the quality command, not just for strikes, but getting to the spots I want to.
All right, Joe Musgrove earlier this afternoon. Marty Caswell, thank you for that audio. Kyle Glaser, the veteran baseball reporter, getting us ready for the stretch run for the Padres in the series that gets underway tonight at Petco against the Twins. He'll join us next on Schaefer and Sliwa.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres and Twins are down in Petco Park getting set for game 1 of their series tonight. It's going to be Connor Prelip going for Minnesota and Randy Vasquez on the hill for San Diego. First pitch is at 6:40. A couple NBA notes today. The Mavs are buying out Klay Thompson's contract. He's expected to sign with the Heat once he clears waivers. And DeMar DeRozan and the Nuggets have agreed to a 1-year, $3.9 million deal. Little League World Series news. The Sweetwater kids from Bonita, they got hosed in a very controversial final call. They lost 1-0. They play an elimination game tomorrow afternoon at 4:00 on ESPN against a team from Alabama. And tomorrow night, SDFC returns to Snapdragon to take on Colorado. You can hear our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren beginning at 7:00 right here on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, turning our attention back to this wild card race in the National League. Padres getting ready for the Twins. Great to reconnect with Kyle Glaser, San Diegan, veteran baseball reporter and writer, back with us on 760. So let's just start there, Kyle, in terms of, if you're a Padres fan right now, how optimistic would you be about your chances of getting to the postseason based on the way they've played over the last 3 or 4 weeks?
I think you have to be really optimistic. The Padres are 18-7 since the day after the 4th of July. That's the best record in baseball, not just the National League, baseball. On top of that, you look at what the Padres are doing in that time. They're top 5 in runs scored. They're top 6 in ERA. They lead the majors in average on base percentage. They're doing everything. And this is a team that we have seen each of the last 2 years has kind of gone on a run in the second half, and it looks like it's happening again this year. So give the Padres credit. They're playing some of the best baseball they've played all season. I would say it is the best baseball they've played all season. And they control their own destiny, and that's exactly where you want to be at this time of year.
Kyle, just by the way, I like the way you put that. They do control their own destiny, and if the Padres don't make the postseason, don't grab one of those final wild card spots, it's on them. Obviously set up to try to make it happen. Well, what kind of a team, if I'm going to just fast forward here, let's just say Padres, they grab that final wild card spot. What kind of a team do you think they would be in the postseason? I guess what I mean by that is dangerous team, their pedigree, their makeup. I know that I'm sure some people will be a little bit more hesitant on their offense being what it's been over the last 30 days. But now with the rotation, it feels like things are starting to settle down with the actual team.
Yeah, anytime you have a top to bottom pitching staff, you're going to be in good shape. And you look at the Padres right now, Michael King, Robbie Ray, Casey Mize, and even Walker Buehler, they've all given the Padres six plus innings their last turns through the rotation. The Padres are getting quality starts 1 through 4. And look, Joe Musgrove's on his way back. We've seen Randy Vasquez pitch pretty well. He's going to get the start tonight. So you feel good about the rotation, whereas 3 weeks ago you couldn't say that. And we know this is the best bullpen in baseball. So that alone is going to give them, an opportunity to put a scare into some teams. I think it really does come down to this offense. And one of the things I would say is, I quoted that after July 4th, but really it goes back more till mid-June. Since then, this has been a top 10 offense in most categories. So it's starting to look more and more like, okay, this isn't a blip. This is actually them kind of getting the right approach. They've been more patient. They've been more selective at the plate. That's what's kind of led to this offensive surge. And if they continue to do it, I think you have to start believing in it a little bit.
Kyle Glaser with us right now, San Diego Sports 760, Schaefer and Sliwa. What's been your reaction to the play of Fernando Tatis Jr., which has been much improved, obviously, over the last couple of months, and has included some of these, viral moments along the way as well, including at Citi Field a couple of nights ago. Is Tatis playing the way he played when he was a younger player right now?
He's certainly playing at the MVP level he was when, we talk about what he looked like in 2021. Yeah. I think with him, I really was not that concerned. Even if he was slumping earlier in the year and wasn't hitting had 0 home runs, he was still hitting the ball hard. He was drawing walks. He was stealing bases. He was playing good defense, bouncing between the infield and the outfield. And when you watched his at-bats, it wasn't like he was really, really struggling with one thing or, he'd have a bad at-bat, but then he'd make the adjustment. So you see a guy who's hitting the ball hard, seeing pitches, making adjustments. It was only going to be a matter of time. I was never really that worried about him. Look, Machado, I was worried about with how much he was chasing. Merrill, I was worried about how much he was chasing. Some of the other guys, there were some concerns, but really Tatis was the one guy I just wasn't worried about. And because we saw good underlying things and they're finally coming to fruition. Now you add in Machado figuring it out, Merrill figuring it out, and up and down the lineup, right? Fermin's been hitting, Cronenworth's been hitting, Camposano's hit all year when he's been healthy. We're really starting to see everything click. But Tatis, this was always in there. I think people panicking early were looking at the stat line. They needed to watch what was happening on the field, and you would have seen that he was going to be just fine.
Kyle, what have you made? You mentioned Machado there a couple of times. What have you made of his season, just the totality of his season, and what type of version of himself is he going to have to be if the Padres do get, as they try to push here towards one of those final playoff spots?
Yeah, I mean, I see a guy who's learning to adapt to the fact he's, moving into his mid-30s. Look, the bat speed has declined objectively. You look at where it was over the last few years. That's something that players this age have to adapt to a little bit. He's not going to be able to play 162 anymore. He's going to have to adapt to that. So I think we're seeing that transition. Look, the power's been nice. Obviously, even with this surge, the overall numbers are not where you want them to be. But the fact that he's been better over the last couple months than he was the few months before, that's a good sign. I'm going to be curious to see how he finishes the season because remember last year, he was absolutely gassed. There was a 6-week stretch where he was the worst hitter in baseball because he was so exhausted. I'm going to be curious to see how the Padres manage his playing time, if they give him the days off he needs, and if he's willing to recognize, hey, I'm 33 going on 34. I really need to make sure I'm getting a day here, especially in the dog days of August, especially as we approach the end of the year, so that he's fresh going into the postseason.
It's a really good point. He really struggled late last year, and of course, it continued into the beginning of this year before responding. Kyle Glaser, the veteran baseball reporter, with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. How do you see this homestand with the Twins in a playoff position, although under 500? The Pirates have hung around longer than they typically do in a season. What do you make of these 6 games?
This is a great opportunity for the Padres to put some distance between them and the Diamondbacks. Look, the Padres are 37-26 at home this year. It's one of the best home records in baseball. It's the same story. At home, they're a dominant team. On the road, they're under 500. When you have 2 sub-500 teams coming in, there's no reason the Padres shouldn't go at least 4-2 during this 6-game stretch. And given everything going with the Diamondbacks, them losing, Ketel Marte and all the strange circumstances surrounding that, this is a really good opportunity for them. And I would say it's a key one because after this, they go to Tampa, which is going to be tough, to Cincinnati. Look, the road's never easy. Then you come back home for a 3-game set against the Yankees. That's going to be a tough little stretch. So if they can just give themselves a little bit of cushion over these next 6 games, they're going to be in really good shape.
Kyle, I'm going to jump around a little bit here. And I'm curious, John and I spent a little bit of time on this earlier in the show. How much just from your inner circles and just baseball as a whole, is there a lot of conversation right now or just in regards to Mark Walter and the Dodgers? And I know it's kind of odd because you got on one side of it, it was kind of a basketball story because he sold the Lakers. And now I think as more of this investigation goes on into Mark Walter's businesses and everything else, do you think that's being underreported at all from a Dodger perspective and how that could have ties, or there's just not enough information yet to kind of connect the dots?
I don't think it's being underreported. I mean, everyone's reporting on this, what's going on, both from a pure business perspective and a sports perspective. Him selling the Lakers a year after he bought them. You have to remember he has a pretty big stake in the PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League. There's been some stuff written about that as well. And look, people have written about the Dodgers situation. At the end of the day, we still need to wait and see exactly how this unfolds. I know people in today's day and age are very impatient. They want answers right now. That's the 24/7, news, social media world we live in. But investigations into, SEC investigations and Justice Department investigations take time. They take lots of time. So we have to let this play out. But there's no question it's fair to say, I don't know how this is going to turn out with the Dodgers. Even though they're saying all the right things about how it's not going to affect them, the more and more this, gets peeled back a little bit, the more and more that seems a little bit shaky.
On field, are the Dodgers more susceptible than they were in 24, 25? I remember a lot of people saying in real time that they were actually very gettable in 24. That was not the team that was necessarily supposed to win the World Series, although they did. How would this team compare to any of the last two?
Yeah, I actually think I look back more at last year's team. Remember, the Dodgers were awful for a 6-week stretch last year, and that's how the Padres made up a 9-game gap on them to take over first place in mid-August in the span of 6 weeks. The 24 Dodgers, I thought they were a good team, and they deserved to win. The Padres were a really good team that year. That the fact that Dodgers were gettable was really they were just gettable by the Padres. Right. And look, the Dodgers won that series. The 25 team, there were stretches last year. They just did not look engaged. They did not look sharp. And it was reflected on the field. I mean, this was not a dominant 105-win team last year. They were a 93-win team. They didn't have home field advantage in the World Series. They had to play a wild card round, but they found a way to turn it on when it mattered most. And I think because they've done that, you have to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. They'll be able to do it again, because there's no question the Dodgers are not playing sharp baseball right now. Offensively, defensively, the bullpen's a mess. Then again, it's just that was all true at this time last year too, and they won the World Series. So I think it's a mistake to count them out, but there's no question they're not playing great baseball right now.
I got one more here. As we look at this wild card race, what do you make of the Arizona Diamondbacks the rest of the way? I mean, if that's the team that's going to be chasing the Padres and it's these final two trying to get that final wild card spot, and that doesn't, I mean, if you want to add St. Louis in the mix, feel free to, but what do you make of the teams that are kind of hovering around the Padres?
Yeah, the Diamondbacks are a tough, gritty, I would not count them out. That's a team that, you talk about all the makeup components of a team that just wears you down. They're relentless offensively. They play maybe above where you think they would, given some of their pitching issues and pitching injuries they've had. This is going to be a fight to the finish. We've seen the Diamondbacks, be a playoff contender. I mean, they were in the World Series in 23, but even last 2 years, they've hung around to the end. I don't expect them to go away. I think this is going to be a fight to the finish, and it wouldn't shock me if this comes down to the final series of the season. There's no question the Padres, when they're fully healthy and really rolling, are better than the Diamondbacks. But the Diamondbacks, again, they're just one of those teams that they just never go away, and they find ways to beat you and wear you down. So they're a good team, and I would not count them out by any means.
Final stretch, that stretch run of the season, the regular season, well underway right now. Kyle, appreciate you doing it, man.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for hopping on.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys.
Great stuff, as always. Kyle Glaser.
Oh, he went at you.
He did go at you. He did.
He went indirectly at you.
How so?
He said they're covering it. They're covering this whole Dodger conversation. And then he's like, people want answers right away. And where did my finger point? Like, you basically saw one article and you're that's it.
No, there's
take
very
everybody
little,
down.
There's no reporting on as it pertains to the Dodgers. There's a lot of reporting on how it pertains to the Lakers. There's very little reporting.
Can I
on
tell you
the
the funny thing? The Lakers story is like an old story now.
I know.
That one was.
I thought it was big.
Now it's a Bus family thing, and then it's. I think it is kind of moving. I think it is trickling into his other ventures.
Here's how you know it's being reported on: when Jeff Passan reports on it. Is there a bigger reporter in the sport?
He mentioned it.
Oh, he mentioned it. He hasn't tweeted in 2 days.
What did he say?
Ken Rosenthal hasn't tweeted in 5 days.
By the way, I think there's. I don't argue. I don't argue on that stuff. Don't get me started on Rosenthal. Don't get me started on
Kevin AC at 5
Rosie.
p.m.
I call him Rosie.
Kevin AC at 5 p.m. I don't have time for you right now. My neck's killing me. Kevin AC will join us at 5 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa. Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code SD760, spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim, issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state. I mean, look at this guy. Schaefer and Sliwa. Sliwa nowhere to be found. All right. Coming up at 5 p.m., Kevin Acey, our Padres insider. We do have a 4-pack of tickets. Oh, Alice still works here. Great. We do have a 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance on August 30th that we will be giving away between now and 6 p.m. Where'd you go?
How are you?
You got to turn the mic on.
I'm good, man. Thank you.
No,
thank you, man. Great to see you.
So
great to see you.
Okay,
so
we
good.
did a DraftKings read there, and then you beelined out of here.
Restroom water.
And you weren't racing back.
Restroom water. Was that a little quicker, or was that on me?
I'm going to give you some advice.
Yeah.
Those mid-hour breaks, like the 15 and 45 period of time, you don't have the update coming back, right?
Sure.
You don't have that buffer where Brent's covering 60 seconds. Yeah. So there's my advice.
Yeah. How about this? I can give you a little piece of advice.
When LeBron broke into the NBA, he got
I'm going to tell you a little piece
of
advice too.
Yeah.
Someone's 10 seconds behind, be a little smoother, huh?
No, what do you mean 10 seconds behind? No, everyone saw on screen you weren't there.
Don't worry about it. Say, I got this. And just play it off.
Don't worry about it.
Just play it off. But you got to
No, I have to call it out.
Oh, great to see you. How are you?
You still work here.
Were you in the restroom?
Yeah, that's fair. Dude.
This is the back room?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I have sutures in my mouth. I love saying that word. Sutures.
I don't even know what that.
I don't know.
I'm
They
not
use
sure.
like string in like my like gums today.
Put everything back together.
I don't know.
What'd you have? What was the surgery?
I have the
Brush your
paperwork.
teeth, man.
Okay.
It's all those Celsiuses.
No. This was scheduled for like 6 months ago.
The Celsius.
Listen,
I got no
fine.
idea
The
what's
next
in
time
that.
one of you two is dying, I'm gonna call you out.
I'm gonna be the dentist in like the next month
That's
or so.
what I'm
so
saying,
with
dude.
you.
Dentist is you don't mess around. Like when the dentist says you need work done, I think you listen to this. It's not like a recommendation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're being serious. Like you want your teeth to fall out.
Yeah, you're right about that. That one you can't screw around.
I'm
with.
scaring you because you have something that you need to get done, right?
I got to freaking figure out that insurance thing. I'm figuring it out.
Kevin,
you know what's
AC
so
fine.
nice? You know what's one of the easiest things to deal with is insurance companies.
I agree.
They're
simple.
I mean, it's such a smooth process. It's so smooth.
I got an update on Nick Pivetta for you. I'm choked up. That's the type of update I have. Nick Pivetta pitched 2 innings today in Arizona, reportedly felt good, and could make one more rehab appearance before returning.
What?
Yeah, where did I just see that?
That's on Pivetta?
That's on Pivetta. So all of a sudden, like he's like back. All that concern, remember? He threw 2 innings today in Arizona and is working his way back. You don't buy it?
No, I listen. If it's being reported on, yeah, it's just more of a shock.
Where's the
more of a surprise than anything else?
Yeah, I'm looking for. Well, anyway, he threw 2 innings. Oh no! Joe Musgrove is scheduled for a bullpen this weekend, then a rehab start. It's in the same tweet, but Pivetta did throw 2 innings. I thought then it was Pivetta for a rehab start.
Okay, just say the Pivetta part again.
Pivetta pitched 2 innings in Arizona yesterday and reportedly felt good. Joe Musgrove is scheduled for a bullpen this weekend, then a rehab start potentially Tuesday.
But still, that Pivetta news that's interesting news.
It is interesting. Like all of a sudden, he's throwing in a competitive game, just like that.
I think they kind of tried downplaying the whole Pivetta thing because of what happened. Like,
yeah,
the problem
I think
with
you're
Pivetta,
right.
it's like the dude walked off. I mean, everybody knew Musgrove and Pivetta were pitching. Everybody knew they were in Lake Elsinore.
Mm-hmm.
You had Marty that was shooting up there. You had other people that were excited that they're going to be there. You got all the cameras that are on these 2 guys. Musgrove pitches well.
Right.
There's a great
Pivetta
presser.
walks off the mound.
Pivetta walks off like that. That just put such a negative energy around Pivetta moving forward. So you and I have spent a lot of time. It's like we don't have that much expectations on Pivetta because of that. But that's promising.
Well,
I'll take that.
Remember what we just said, which is like, well, who's rotation spot is even Joe Musgrove taking? Okay, Randy Vasquez just pitched all right. If Nick Pivetta was here tomorrow, whose spot is he taking?
Mm-hmm. I don't think. I mean, I got a difficult time thinking they're going to be
back.
No, not back necessarily, but let's put it this way: if Pivetta's feeling good and he's pitching well, then you're going to find a place for Nick Pivetta. Period. Like,
Right.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Nick Pivetta was your ace coming into this season. And he has been one of your workhorses over the last year or so. I mean, obviously not this season as much, only made 4 starts. So, but that's promising there. That's promising.
Yeah, we'll see. And again, if these are good, they always say this in baseball, good problems are too many starting pitchers. Good problems are too many hitters that are good. Those are good problems. They sort themselves out. And if that's the situation they're in September, those are good problems.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Acey with more on Musgrove and Pivetta and this team getting ready for the Minnesota Twins tonight down at Petco Park.
Might have also a Jason Adam update as well. I know he's
Jason Adam update.
as well.
Okay, I like hearing that. So we'll ask Kevin Acey about Jason Adam, who's been out as well. Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, joining us next. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres and Twins are getting set for game 1 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Connor Prelip going for Minnesota and Randy Vasquez going for the Friars. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. A couple NFL news a couple NBA news and notes. The Mavs are going to buy out Klay Thompson's contract. He's expected to sign with the Miami Heat after he clears waivers. And the Nuggets and DeMar DeRozan agreed on a 1-year deal worth $3.9 million. Little League World Series news. The Sweetwater team from Bonita lost today 1-0 on a very controversial strike 3 call to end the game. They play again tomorrow in an elimination game at 4:00 on ESPN against a team from Alabama. SDFC returns to Snapdragon tomorrow night to take on Colorado. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren will begin at 7:00 right here on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, final hour. We'll kick it off with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee. Padres and Twins. It feels like it's been a generation since the Padres played, but it's only been 2 days. And Kevin's back with us on 760. Kevin, I want to start with just the injury situation, because I feel like a year ago, they were like snake bitten a little bit. When you had Jason Adam, you had Ramon Laureano go out at the wrong time. This year, it feels as if they're getting healthier at the right time. Like, is that a fair assessment? Of course, we don't know what's going to happen over the final 30-something games, but it feels like they're getting healthier as opposed to last year where they were losing guys this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Adam hadn't been hurt yet, and Ramon Laureano hadn't been hurt yet. So
all right, take back my question.
A lot of time. Yeah, I was going to say, but I absolutely understand the sentiment because of Joe Musgrove, perhaps Miguel Andujar. But they would not be happy with you with the superstitions the baseball players and executives have. They would not like that you mentioned that.
Okay, good point. My other question is, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, okay, it's fair. It might be a bit of a jinx.
Kevin, with that, we just saw this, and I didn't get a chance we haven't got a chance to hear it. Just Jason Adams specifically. We've talked a little bit about Pivetta. We've talked a little bit about Musgrove. Anything in that Jason Adam conversation that is worth noting?
You know what? I wasn't in on Jason Adam today. I talked to him in New York. I don't know what he said today, but I can't imagine there was anything that was new because he's not doing anything more than playing catch. And the idea all along has been that once he got going, it would be a fairly rapid advancement for a couple reasons. Like, he just needed to get healed and then he could start throwing, and he's old enough, experienced enough, and only has to build up to 1 inning. And so they feel like middle of September. Now, again, I didn't hear today, but I don't know what would have happened in the last 2 days to have changed something.
All right, Kevin Acee with us right now on Schaefer and Slee. We've had a couple of really fine starter questions here for Kevin. How do you see this? How do you see this race right now? 34 games to play.
Yeah.
If for a moment it felt like there was separation, now it feels like for a moment maybe there's been tightening. Arizona game back, St. Louis keeps winning, 2.5 back. How should Padres fans be feeling right now about the NL wildcard race?
Oh, just keep riding the waves, because that's what's fun about being a fan. My favorite part, though, and the feedback that I get from fans is it feels to me like when the Padres win 3 in a row, it's like, oh, yeah, that's what they should do. And then when they lose once, it's like, how in the world did this happen? They're toast. This is called baseball. So, yeah, I feel like, it felt like there was separation. But, I mean, to say there's anything different has changed is to get really in the weeds, like disappointing loss on Wednesday. The Diamondbacks win on that walk-off, or no, it wasn't a walk-off, but like in extra innings, right? And it's like, oh man, what a swing. I mean, this is what the playoff chase is about. And I think it was fairly predictable. And I don't know how you guys feel, but the further we go along here and there's not separation, the more it feels like that last series could really, really be like in play. Now, you know what? One of these teams could win 7 in a row right now, while the other goes 2 and 5, and suddenly we're like, oh, well, this thing's over. And it may or may not be. But for 34 games to go, I mean, I would buckle in and say, yeah, this is what it's going to be.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show. Kevin, tonight we get a chance to see Randy Vasquez again, kind of a up and down season. Just how do you feel when you know Randy Vasquez is getting the ball? How do you feel about what to expect from him? And is that kind of is it all over the place where you're not sure what to expect when he takes the mound?
I think that's it, right? I feel confident that he's going to go out there and he's going to battle for 5 innings. Now, sometimes that's 4, but like I feel like he's going to go out and battle for 5. And then there's times you can just tell after a couple that he's super locked in. He is like first pitch strike. He is like turns 1-1 into 1-2. And Randy is like, he's throwing all of his pitches where they need to be, which he does. He doesn't have great stuff. I mean, he's got good stuff, but he doesn't have great stuff. And like, it's a big location thing. But yeah, it's all over the place. Like, that's why he's the number 5 starter. And that's why there's a couple of reasons he'll go to the bullpen. He can be effective out of the bullpen as one, but like, he'll be the guy that goes when Joe Musgrove comes back.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insiders, with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. Who would you have more confidence in down the stretch, Manny Machado or Jackson Merritt?
Oh man, you guys saved them. You guys saved the questions. Yeah, both of them a little discombobulated there. They both mechanically got out of sync in New York, and okay. It happens. They also face good pitching on this. I'm making the excuses before I acknowledge, but they faced good pitching on this. They really did. Underrated pitching. Robert Stock was a complete weirdo to face. Look, Padres won't do very well if these guys keep hitting like that. Go back 20 games with Manny, and the only reason it's not below 200 is he's had a few 3-hit games, right, to go with the 0 for 5s. Jackson, the road trip wasn't good. He swung it a lot. Not terribly much more. The guy's a chaser, but his hands got. I mean, even I could see it, and I'm the first person to always qualify. I'm not a hitting coach or a scout. Even I could see what he was doing with his hands, and it was what he was doing for the first, for a good portion of the first part of the season. He just got a little. When Jackson's right, it's freaking smooth, man. Some of us don't know, like, the average person doesn't know why, but you're like, man, that's a beautiful swing. And when there's just a little extra hitch at the beginning with the hands when he's not right, and that's what was happening. And, you're facing you're trying to hit fastballs at the top of the zone. That little hitch is going to kill you.
Kevin, of course, new ownership is going to get introduced on Monday. How much has that been a conversation inside the clubhouse? I mean, is that something that the players have talked about? There have been a lot of questions that have been proposed to some of the players, or even Craig Stammen. Has that been part of the dialogue here over this last couple of days?
I have gotten questions. They're curious about one thing. What do you think some of the players are curious about? What these new owners are going to do. Do you think they're interested in how they're going to be in the community?
No, expenditure.
What do you think they're interested?
Money.
Same thing that fans will be, and really, quite honestly, should be, right? What I've said is, and I look forward to their answers. I don't think that this press conference is worthless. I think it's wonderful. It should be exciting for everybody to meet these folks. I think you should have, high hopes for them. But all that's going to matter is what do they do for this team. I think it'll be interesting to hear how do they preface, how do they, talk around any sort of plans they might have for, say AJ Preller. I think that'll be interesting, but it's like proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, proof will be in the pudding, no doubt. That's how they'll be judged. Now, you wrote something within the last day about the Padres ownership group rewarding employees with the sale now complete. This is the current ownership group, right? The one that is now welcoming the new ownership group. It's not Jose Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones offering the bonus system up. It's the previous, or I guess current ownership. Is that correct?
Yes, it's the people who are getting the money, not spending the money.
Gotcha.
So some of them did. Some of them are buying more, like Alfredo Harpaloo.
Gotcha.
Some of them getting money and staying in, like Eric Grupner, most of the Seidler siblings. Some other people, but yeah, they're sharing a tiny bit of the love.
Is it atypical to do that or not?
I haven't heard it before, but I honestly, I was on a plane when I wrote this yesterday and was like, oh boy, I better get this out. But I honestly don't know. I haven't heard of it happening before. And, regardless, it's like, hey, they're doing it, right? Like they didn't have to. They're doing it. That's cool. Look, my understanding is some people are going to be pretty happy with this. I don't know how much an usher is going to get, a ticket taker, so the people know, like the people that work the concessions and stuff are like, they're part of, what's that called when you don't actually work for the team? You're a contractor or something. You work for distributors, all that. Like we're talking about people that work for the team, part and full. And depending on what your job is and maybe some other factors, I don't know, you're going to get a little bump. And that's cool.
Kevin, we were going over an article. I think it was yesterday. ESPN ranked top 100 MLB prospects. And the Padres had one in that top 100. It was Ethan Salas, of course. I think he was maybe 11th, 12th, wherever he was on the list, but they only had one. I'm curious, from your perspective, and I know we talk about ownership and how much money they're going to go spend and this and that. Typically, people talk about the finances, but it's safe to say that there needs to be a balance of also having a proper farm system and bringing guys up and obviously having their control. Just how much do you think how much does that worry you or concern you that where the Padres sit today for the future, that farm system is as depleted as it is?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. It does. There's a lot of things in my mind on this in that it should, right? Because that's a way to, no matter how good you are at trading or, whatever the new economics are, and if you're more likely to get free agents and all that, it's a great way to make your team and supplement your team is by bringing up your own guys. On the other hand, what is it the Padres weren't able to do? They weren't able to get a left-handed bat, but with Cash Mayfield, and that's about it in terms of names. Anyone outside of the prospect dorks knew they were able to get two starting pitchers to make their team exponentially better. We'll go back to 25, go back to 24. These rankings, I know how some of them are made, and they're bogus, man. That's not to say ESPN's is. ESPN has a guy who's been in the league for a long time. Obviously, they have a lot of national people. They talk to a lot of people, but there's also still some. And John, now I don't mean to exclude you. I don't necessarily know your background, John. I know some how this works a lot of times.
It's a game.
Who talks to who?
Yeah, it's
right.
Game.
And that's how I get my information and all that. And the Padres don't talk to anyone. It's the worst and best part of my job because it's really hard to get information from them. You got to bend over backwards. It takes a lot of time, a lot of trust. And yet I know if they're not talking to me, they're not talking to most people, right? And so that's great. But they don't participate in this stuff a lot. And so I'm not saying that their farm system is great. I'm saying the idea that we're placing or that people are placing stock in them being 30th ranked or having one top 100 is so overblown. And the only proof I have in that, because it certainly ain't guys coming up to the Padres, but is their ability to keep flipping 17-year-olds for major league talent.
They get the return.
If their farm system's so bad, then how is this happening?
It's interesting. They get return for a lowly ranked system, and other teams can't even complete trades with highly rated systems. I mean, look at Arizona was trying to add starting pitching.
And that I remember I started off saying it is concerning. So I'm not saying I'm not dismissing this, right? But it's they have a plan. Do I think there's going to come a time where they got to pay for this? Yeah, it does. I don't know exactly how to elucidate that you're going to have to pay at some point here for this. But man, we keep thinking that they don't have these prospects, and they keep turning them into real players that help them get to the playoffs.
And they've had an ability to extend this window out. We'll see how much longer they can continue to do it. And we're going to talk about that actually on the other side as well. Kevin, appreciate you hopping on. Have a good weekend, all right?
Thank you, man.
Right on. See you.
Yeah, like is it a necessity or a luxury to bring players up from your system to contribute at the major league level for a winning team?
Yeah, but it's almost like you got to play the game a little bit too. Because I do think it does, if the perception is they have the best farm system because they are talking and doing, it's almost like, you got to go to these mixers. It's good for your company.
Right. But again, like when the proof's in the pudding, when it's time to make a deal, they have a suitor to deal with. Like, so someone's thinking something of their system to get Robbie Ray, to go get Casey Mize, to go get Mason Miller.
There's more to that too.
There is. We'll talk about on the other side. Kyle Bonagura, ESPN, college football writer. If you missed him earlier, you'll hear that conversation at 5:30 on Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, SDFC is back home at Snapdragon Stadium tomorrow night when they take on Colorado. Our coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 p.m. on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports, 760.
All right, in the next 7 minutes, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance. I'll be listening for when to call to win those tickets to see My Chemical Romance. August 30th at Petco Park. It's a 4-pack of tickets. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. And if you missed Kyle Bonagura, good college football reporter for ESPN, you're going to hear from him coming up at 5:30. What are you showing me?
There's so many, that Padres Mets game from, I think it was Tuesday night where it was the Tatis game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but like
all the different angles.
There were certain angles on Tuesday night. There were new angles on Wednesday, and these are all just people randomly.
Yeah.
The newest one is somebody on TikTok puts this up in that angle.
That's insane, that angle.
Bro, and they zoom in right when these angles are just
doing
amazing.
the stare and the ball toss and the hat flies off.
It's just another angle. Cool. I just saw it on.
There's another angle.
X-feed.
It was like, I don't know if you remember the whole Machado Roberts situation. Like,
nobody has
video. I'm like, what do you mean nobody has video? Remember that? It took like 24 hours for video to come out. They're like, here it is. And I watch it. It's like him tossing a ball to the third base dugout. Like it was like the craziest scandal in baseball history. Dave Roberts made it out to be like it was some unbelievable thing that Machado did.
Let's stop here for a second.
Yeah.
If we're going to go all the way back to 2024, if that's where you want to go.
Yeah.
Dave Roberts made it an unbelievable thing a little bit out of desperation. Okay. Machado, where are you throwing the ball? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But what are you doing?
I know. I didn't have any issue with it.
What's, you know what I can't stand? And that series, it is what it is. But it's like, there's no point of like poking arguably the most talented team in baseball.
I didn't see it as that.
There's no point in
the ball.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't just throwing the ball.
I'd love to see the video again. I think it was honestly him throwing the ball.
If it's just throwing the ball, it's fine. It doesn't mean anything. I didn't think it was that. I mean, we're going back to 2024.
I know we are. It just reminded me because there's all these angles now of Tatis.
But the only reason why I mentioned it is like stuff like that.
No, just poking.
Just go in.
Well, don't put Clayton Kershaw meme on the video board.
But
That's stupid.
Go win. And when you win, that's your talking ish.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's like I wasn't critical of like Jurickson Profar like wagging his tail at Game 2 at Dodger Stadium. Like you haven't won anything. Or Fernando Tatis Jr. doing crazy stuff in Game 3.
I'm with you
at Petco Park.
Yeah,
they didn't win anything, but sometimes you gotta be you. All right, so the Padres system, the fact that they have farmhands that they don't fully develop and reach the major leagues. They always spin their farmhands for major leaguers at the trade deadline. Often, I mean, there's Jackson Merrill, there's Fernando Tatis Jr. obviously. But how critically important is it for them to graduate, so to speak, farmhands and prospects, as opposed to doing the AJ Preller route that he's been executing on or attempting to since 2020?
Do you think we actually got this? We interviewed a couple of people right after the trades. We interviewed somebody that covers the Tigers, somebody covers the Giants.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember one of the conversations was like, hey, do other general managers and president of baseball, like, do they want to do business with AJ Preller because they know he's more susceptible to be like, yeah, I know this is a good prospect that can potentially have really good success. Like, do people look at the Padres and say, go look at Abrams, go look at Wood, go look at, they may say, we might be able to get something like that from this guy's system because he is so determined and motivated to get what he wants.
Right.
He doesn't care what he gives up in return for it.
Right.
So I think to answer your question, I've always said this and I'll continue to say it. There's got to be a balance.
Sure.
And if you don't value your farm system, I do think it's going to hurt the San Diego Padres down the road, and it may be hurting them now because they've had to, a lot of the times they have to give up so much because they're just trying to put together a competitive roster that can make the playoffs, and that doesn't guarantee anything once they get to the postseason. They're definitely not going to be a favorite if they get into that wild card spot at number 6, and they won't be a favorite in every single round that they go through.
Yeah, no, I agree. Although I would say, even if they have the best system in baseball and it was perfectly procured free agency and system, are they going to be the favorite? Are they ever going to have the National League's best team with their system? They had the best system. I've seen them have the best system before, but they didn't have great teams. And then I've seen them spend a lot and they didn't have the best team. It's hard to be the best team. It takes like right team, right time. In fact, I mean, they had it for a brief moment. 2024 Dodger series, they were among the best teams in the sport. Nobody really wants to hear about it. We keep going back to 2024. They were among the best teams in the sport right in that time. But I don't know if holding on to these players would have made them the best team right now. If they had James Wood, if they had CJ Abrams, they have great value. How much value? It's hard to really know.
Again, I'm not telling you just, all your eggs go into the farm system. I'm just telling you, have a balance.
Yeah.
Have a respectable farm system. At the trade deadline, you don't have to give these things away like it's a fire sale at every trade deadline.
Overpay.
Have more players that you're cropping through your system and are making it to the big leagues that you do have control over, that you didn't have to go trade for and trade the type of capital that they've traded. Like I think obviously it's not a hot take to say you're better off having a good farm system than not when it comes to your baseball team. I don't think that's
not a
crazy.
hot take, but I also don't think it's a hot take to be like, you could just spend and win. And you could trade away prospects for right now capital.
But you could just spend and win. Are the Padres the market and the team to just say like, hey, you could just spend and win?
I mean, they're actually the perfect market to say it's possible. And that's a perfect example of saying, why don't they
haven't spent and won?
Well, they've spent and won beyond the history of their franchise. They've that's not the bar. Exceeded what they've done.
But that's just like,
is that not the bar?
No, I don't think it's the bar. What is the goal? What is the goal?
To win a World Series?
The goal is to win
the number one system they've had.
Yeah, but I'm not. But we might be arguing two different things. I'm not arguing. Again, I don't think just by spending you're going to accomplish the goal that you're looking to accomplish.
No, I agree, but
that's my point.
That's fair, but I think objectively speaking, their spend coupled with their GM has put them in a position that's been a lot better off than most clubs, including the history of their franchise. If you use that as
that's okay. I'm all right with that. I think that's the right way to put it. But they also throw around the word World Series all the time, and they've never made a World Series.
Never won a World Series, right?
I'm saying this regime. You're talking about this regime. Yeah. This regime has never made a World Series, but they lob the word World Series around like they've won 3.
Get ready for Monday. They will again.
They will.
And the Cincinnati Reds, when they're sold, will do the same thing, would be my guess. Kyle Bonagura, ESPN college football writer on the brand new Pac-12. That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Twins are down in Petco Park getting set for their game one of their series tonight. It's going to be Connor Prelip going for Minnesota and Randy Vasquez on the hill for the Friars. First pitch is at 6:40. Couple NBA notes. The Mavs are buying out Klay Thompson's contract. He's expected to sign with the Heat once he clears waivers. And the Nuggets and DeMar DeRozan agreed on a one-year deal worth $3.9 million. Little League World Series news. The Sweetwater team from Bonita lost today 1-0 on a very controversial strike 3 call to end the game with the bases loaded. They play an elimination game tomorrow afternoon on ESPN at 4:00 against a team from Alabama. SDFC returns to Snapdragon Stadium tomorrow night when they take on Colorado. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7:00 right here on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. Running business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, we're going to get you ready for the weekend. On the other side, we'll give away My Chemical Romance tickets as well. But first, if you missed Kyle Bonagura, Alan, earlier, ESPN college football writer.
Let's get some Pac-12 expansion. Let's get this whole freaking college football. Yet. I know. Let's get this whole thing just shuffled in the next 2 years.
All right. Well, we talked about that with Kyle Bonagura. He wrote about the new look Pac-12 and if the Pac-12 right now is carving out its own lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting, topic of conversation, if nothing else, right? Because there's a number of ways you can try to quantify that, right? Because I think if you look at what this new look conference will, kind of the depth of it, all the way up and down. Like, I think it's pretty clear that they are the number 5 conference from any way you slice it, most of the time. But I'm not really convinced that necessarily matters, right? Because what's going to matter, ultimately, how these conferences are going to be evaluated is by playoff, at least in college football, is playoff representation. And so even though the old Pac-12 was a Power 5 conference, because it didn't, was never in the 14 playoff, or rarely was, they had two appearances, its reputation was hurt as a result of that. And now the new look conference is kind of in a similar spot because, there's only so many spots, and now there'll be, quite a bit of competition from those conferences outside of the, I guess what we're calling now the Power 4, right? And so, yeah, I think up and down, again, they're there, but it's gonna end up being more about who sends a playoff team year after year. And so if you have a team like, James Madison a year ago, who has an incredible season, and it's clear that they're the most deserving of the non-power conferences. They didn't come from the best, best conference or outside of the power one. So it kind of skews it, but I'm interested to see how this plays out, because the playoffs going to expand, and there's all sorts of craziness going on in college football, of course.
Kyle, so with that in mind, let's say, I don't know if tie is the right way to put it here, but Boise State, San Diego State, you pick whichever Pac-12 school, and you can look at some of these other non-power conferences. What do you think gives the edge to the Pac-12 to be part of that 12-team playoff? And before we even talk about expansion, what do you think the conference has to accomplish in order to, like you said, kind of be in kind of a league of that kind of in-between league, not a Power 4, but also not tied with the rest of the conferences?
Yeah, and I think that's why it's such a precarious situation, because they could be the best conference year after year, but it might not matter, right? Because if your conference champion is, let's say it's San Diego State this year, right? But say they lose to UCLA, and they lose a game in conference, but they beat James Madison, and there's some other team from another conference that goes undefeated, and so say San Diego State's got 2 or 3 losses. Maybe they're the champion of the Pac-12, and up and down, it's the best conference. It's not going to matter, right? Because that undefeated team from a weaker conference, it probably will still have the edge, right? And so I think that's why the kind of system for me is still a little bit flawed, in that there's not a clear path in the winner of conferences outside of the Power Four, and so it's a tough situation to be in. I think like conference like strength will be part of the evaluation for those teams, but it's certainly not going to be like if you win the Pac-12 or you win, say the American happens to be better in any given year. If you win the American, like that's not a guarantee either. It's so much about the individual team at the top as opposed to the conference's overall depth and strength.
Yeah, it's a good point. Kyle Bonagura from ESPN is with us right now. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. So no one has a crystal ball on college athletics. I mean, the thing is crazy. Each and every day there's stuff you don't expect. But like, Kyle, would you be surprised if in 5 years there was another round of realignment impacting the P4? Like, I'm still looking at Cal and Stanford in the ACC. Like, you got to be kidding me. And there's other examples. It's not just specific to Cal and Stanford. And we know what happened, obviously, with the old version of the Pac-12. But, like, is this just going to be the P4 structure for the next 25 years? Or is there going to be another, earthquake-type movement at some point to realign everyone?
Yeah, no chance it stays how it is now. I think the only thing, like predicting how it's going to evolve, I think that's an impossible task. But I think it's very clear that it will continue to evolve because it's been the waves of realignment have been pretty significant in the last few years, of course. But like it's always been part of college football going back 150 years, right? I mean, the Pac-10 was a thing for a long time, and you had that established group, and then it became the Pac-12, and it lasts for a decade. It feels like some sort of disruption because it is, but at the same time, there wasn't that much history with Utah and Colorado, and so there's. The San Diego State was in the WAC for a long time before the Mountain West came along. And so I think that it's just part of the sport, and it always has been. And I think, when you start seeing the geographical lines no longer become it's something that matters, I think that's why this feels so different, right? You have, like you pointed out, I mean, Cal and Stanford in the ACC is ridiculous. Having Washington and Rutgers in the same conference, like that doesn't make any sense. Like I think, like for me, there's a lot of very logical solutions. Like one would be separate football from the conferences and like have football only conferences and geographic conference for everything else. Like I think that makes too much sense, and I think people who are close to this think it makes too much sense. But there's so many moving pieces here when you're talking about public and private institutions in 36 different states and no central, like the NCAA has proven to be powerless lawsuit after lawsuit, right? There's no way for them to effectively govern college sports without outside intervention in whatever jurisdiction might be impacted at the moment. And so, yeah, like it's going to continue to evolve. It like all the signs certainly indicate that everything is shifting toward power conferences. Like the money is just too big for that not to be the case. Like that's always going to be what drives this. So I think you kind of just sit in for a few years and you say, okay, this is probably what this is going to look like for 2-3 years. But, I wouldn't even feel good about the idea that it's going to remain firm that long. I mean, it could change in 1 or 2 years, and that's got to be, par for the course.
Kyle Bonagura taking some time here, covers college football for ESPN on the Schaefer and Slewa Show. Kyle, this was early on, maybe a couple months ago or so. We were having a conversation with the athletic director of San Diego State University, J.D. Wicker, and I want to kind of ask you a similar question. I asked what could be the best version of the Pac-12 down the road, 3, 4, 5 years from now. You pick however long. And he had mentioned that, listen, kind of like you just said, this is such an evolving, everything is evolving in college sports, and I don't think we have any idea where it's going to be in the next handful of years. But from your seat, from your perspective, what kind of potential do you think the Pac-12 can have? And there's only 9 teams, 8 in football. And I think what we're talking about is the potential of it, adding different schools and hopefully better schools and everything else. Do you see some potential here for the Pac-12 down the road?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think from a results standpoint, it's like just let's use five years to make a simple conversation, right? So like say you have 3 teams to the playoffs in 5 years. I think that's like an overwhelming success. I think it's probably success if you have 2 teams in 5 years, just because of how the math works out, right? Yeah. I'm talking about the outlier being the conference champion. So I think that would be a good way to measure success. As far as like adding other schools, I think it becomes a question is where is the real value? that is realistic. I mean, there's a couple, right? Like I think UNLV is a school with a lot of potential in a cool market. They've had some success recently in football, though not historically. That hasn't been the case. Has obviously had some good basketball over the year. I think if the circumstances changed and UNLV came over, that would be an obvious one. I mean, I think Hawaii as a football only school makes a lot of sense. The travel for the other sports is kind of tough to justify unless you get creative with and how that deal would be structured. But I think like beyond that, like there's like the pie in the sky mentality, right? Is like, look, going back to Stanford and Cal, like how long do they want to be in the ACC? I'm up here in the Bay Area, and I don't see any world in which they would be interested in leaving the ACC for the new look Pac-12 in the foreseeable future. Like even though it's a lot of travel, the media rights deal, even though they're getting 30% in the ACC, like it's still significantly more than they would be getting in what how the Pac-12 is structured now. But look, if could circumstances change and does the ACC dissolve at some point? Look, if that happens, then I think Stanford and Cal would have a hard time getting the bid elsewhere, and the obvious landing spot would be to return to the West Coast and kind of catch your breath and play the geographical game. So I think like that could be one way this thing breaks. And then the other obvious, pursuit, it was something that the Pac-12 kind of tried, it's a path they went down, is there's some schools at the top of the American that are conceivably good value at Memphis. There's a couple others that in other parts of the country, South Florida, then you're talking about, then it kind of gets weird again, right? Do you really want to be in one of these national conferences to be the number 5 conference? What's the end game here? Is that really a good thing? I think those are all interesting conversations to be had, but those are all the avenues you could go down. But I think for now it's pick your spots with it. UNLV for me is the most obvious one, but again they turned down the chance to do it now. The Mountain West offered them kind of a sweetheart deal to sit pat for now, but those deals change pretty quickly, and once you kind of get through those contracts and all of that, everyone's kind of fair game, and even when they aren't up, schools appear to be fair game. So yeah, just expect more change for sure.
Always fascinating times at a big first year for a new look conference here in the West in the Pac-12. Kyle, appreciate you taking time. Enjoyed the writing at ESPN, and thanks for doing it.
Thank you, man.
Sure thing. Anytime.
All right, we're giving away My Chemical Romance tickets.
Let's make it happen.
Plus, we have what's on tap this weekend, right?
Yeah.
We'll look ahead.
Some of the main games. See the teams that the Padres need to lose. We'll take a look here.
All right, we'll do that.
See tomorrow.
That's right. We'll do that on the other side right here on Schaefer and Sliwa. Stay with us. All right, let's give away these My Chemical Romance tickets. August 30th. If you want them, this is at Petco Park. Call 877-767-4760. Caller 4, you've got them. A free 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance, August 30th at Petco Park in 9 days. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Caller 4, you're going. 877-767-4760. Call right now. Give me some scores.
All right, who do we want in this Cardinals-Phillies game?
I would say go Phils.
Because you don't think
you never want the team behind you, I feel like, to win. The team in front of you is already in playoff position.
Here's what we're saying. Basically, we're on the defense then. Because if you don't have the confidence, which I get it, I kind of know what you're coming from. You don't have the confidence that we can catch the Phillies.
No, I do.
Then you should be rooting for the Cardinals.
No, because I don't think it matters. 5-6, who knows who's better?
Here's why it would matter. What matters is you're either closer to 2 available spots or you're fighting for 1 spot.
No, but I'm saying
Phillies are up 5-4 right now on the Cardinals. But Cardinals threatening, they got a man.
You tell me you're rooting for the Cardinals? I can't root for teams outside.
I don't have that much confidence. I think Philly's going to eventually lock in that number 5 spot. So I kind of get the root for the Phillies because you don't feel like you're going to catch the Phillies.
That's not why I say. I just don't want to be caught from behind. Because there's still 2 spots as opposed to 1 spot. I don't want a team behind the Padres getting closer. I don't care about teams in front of them.
Phillies and the Cardinals, it's 5-4. You're right. I sort of understand where that is.
Yeah.
So they're in the top of the 7th. And just, if people are asking why the hell are we talking about the Cardinals? Well, the Cardinals are only, I think through this whole thing, they're 2.5 back of the Padres. So
okay.
Philly's already up 2 games plus a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Arizona, just so we have an idea on the Diamondbacks, they take on the Reds.
Okay.
6:40. By the way, we never even got into the Ketel Marte, did we? Because there was additional news on Marte. I think they put him officially. They put Marte on the 10-day IL, and here's the exact title on ESPN: Diamondbacks moving Marte to 10-day IL after strange absence.
And Torey Lovello said he was betrayed. The manager of the Diamondbacks said he was betrayed by Marte. So that's not
what
good.
He said.
I mean, think about that. He's a long time manager there too, and they've been together for a long time.
He said he was betrayed.
Yeah.
Holy
so that
Jesus.
thing is a disaster.
By the way, that's that's something to keep in mind. Like, just imagine this. Imagine if Craig Stammen said that Tatis
betrayed him.
Think
how big of a story that would be.
And here we are in this race to try to make the playoffs, and that's the quote.
Like, how big would that be in San Diego?
Jesus.
I don't know how big that's been in Phoenix.
It's got to be.
I mean, I would think it would be massive here, to your point. Massive if that happened. All right, so Toddy just didn't show up.
Those are
says betrayed.
That's crazy. All right, those are the 2 main games from a baseball perspective that we'll keep an eye on. One thing to also keep note, I know we talked a little bit about this, just the game tomorrow. SDFC tomorrow. Try to find here just specifically MLS because you'll have all the teams playing tomorrow. SDFC Colorado, just so everybody kind of understands just every game now moving forward for SDFC, how important it is.
Yeah.
Colorado is sitting. This thing is so damn confusing. ESPN's, they put every league in one for soccer. SDFC sitting 13th right now. Colorado sitting 7th. 24 points to 28 points. You said something after I basically said that
like
SCFC's done, season's over, just shut it down. I think you said they got 4 of their next 5 at Snapdragon. And I think you predicted they got to get 10 points.
Yeah, win 3
in these next 5.
And
win 3 and get 1.
Yeah, 10 out of 15 points.
That's pretty damn aggressive there off a team that
let's write it down.
Has 24 points total over how many matches?
No, you're right. 20. So that's about a point per match.
They have 24 points.
And I'm asking for 10
20
in the next
total
5.
matches. And you want 10 in the next 5.
Write it down. If I get it,
I just told you.
If I get it, you're going to buy me an all expense paid trip to Monterey If you're right, I'm going to get
Monterey,
your trail
Mexico,
mix.
or Monterey in Northern California.
My choice based on how I'm feeling at the time. And if you win, I'm getting your trail mix. I'll get it.
This one here.
From here, I'll pick it up I'll bring it into the studio.
Appreciate you, bro.
Is that a fair wager? No, but I do want to circle the 4 home matches and 5 matches.
I hope you're right, brother. I hope you're right, because if that happens, if you're gaining 10 points over this next, it would be about, I don't know. I feel like they're playing every 3 days now.
So over 3.5 weeks?
Probably something like that.
They'd be in a playoff spot, wouldn't they? With 10 points in the next 5 games?
Definitely. Because it's already so congested as it is.
That's the thing. So that's big. You were saying you might want to make it out this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna try to make it out if I can, but we'll see. It'd be fun to just go to a game tomorrow and be frustrated, just like I am at home. Be frustrated in front of Snapdragon.
We're gonna be at Petco on Monday. Myself and Alan. The new ownership will be introduced on Monday afternoon before that Pirate series gets underway. Jose Feliciano, Kwanzaa Jones, long time in the making. We've heard those names for a while now. It is official. And it will be even more so on Monday.
One other thing to point out, kind of a big one coming up tonight. A little quieter on this one, but I'll try to make the deal. San Diego Wave, big one tonight as well. They're playing at Snapdragon against Utah. And if you go look at the table there, just where everybody's standing in the NWSL, San Diego's done work. I mean, they've put themselves in a good position. Granted, they had an awful tie on Sunday, a 1-1 tie, but they're 5th right now in the NWSL. They're taking on Utah, who's 3rd. So 33 points to 36. They can catch Utah if they win.
Busy couple of weeks to Snapdragon with MLS, NWSL, Aztecs, 15 days from today.
There's my little weekend preview for you of some of the local ties.
Yeah, you forgot something, though.
I did. Sweetwater, Bonita. Tomorrow they're playing.
Did you mention the Padres twins? Whatever. Everyone knows that.
We talked about them for 2.5 hours.
Padres and twins at 6:40.
Big series.
Randy
Vasquez.
There you go. Win a series or 2.
Yes.
Against the Twins and Pirates. All right, we're going to be back Monday reacting to...
You may or may not, based on your pinch nerve.
Honestly, I'm not positive I'll be at the press conference. Because I don't want to steal the show. I don't want them to have medical attention.
Walk into the press conference with a neck brace. No, just a neck brace. Everybody's going to be very sympathetic towards you.
And then my question will be, Jose, Kwanzaa, what do you think happened to me? And they'll ask for their thoughts on my injury. It'll be good.
It's really well thought out. It's really well thought out.
For Brett and Alan, I'm John. Have a great weekend. Everybody. We will see you Monday right here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.